I don't love the name Jahad Campbell, pick 31 for the Philadelphia Eagles, but there is some injury history with him, and there's some maybe injury futures with him. We'll talk about the concerning risk of taking a risk in the first rounds. Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade and Salciunas.
On April the 28th, I can't evaluate who these draft picks are. There's a reason why guys get drafted in the third round versus the first or second. Yeah.
The first two picks they got, I love it. But when I'm hearing about adding depth players and you keep trading back, so what you're adding is less talented depth players. By your own evaluation, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
Kincade and Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Friday morning, Philadelphia. I hate all of you. I'm Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The
You
Fanatic.
hate all of us.
Yes,
you mean,
not
the
Philadelphia.
listeners.
Yeah, no. I hate John Kincade and I hate Brendan Gunn.
The listeners you just absolutely adore.
I can't even start the damn show without comments. My God, I feel like I'm at home. Anyways.
Just have a little fun with the shirt. I like the shirt,
Beautiful
by the
shirt,
way.
Man.
I like the shirt, by the way.
It's the vibe for today's golf outing.
It's a swingers golf outing?
Yes, I'm going to be doing a lot of swinging at the golf outing today.
Probably like 100 times?
Probably.
Probably around 100 times.
So here's the deal. That's kind of the joke of the shirt.
That's what it is.
This is the second time I've ever worn this shirt in my life, and it'll both be for a round of golf. Now, and the first one was with the best golfer that I'm a friend with.
I would say do not wear that shirt at like an all-inclusive resort.
No, don't worry. I did not do that.
Because you'll be having a lot of knocks on the door or drinks sent over.
Well, hey, I'll take the drinks.
Yeah, but it's free drinks.
Bring them on,
They're free drinks.
Yeah,
but
I don't have to wait at the bar. It's beautiful.
That could work.
Anyways, so we are 1 week removed from the NFL draft. Last Thursday, of course, was when the Eagles selected Jahad Campbell with the 31st overall pick, and then the next day was our first chance to react to it. So I think this is a natural thing to do in life. Let's talk about a week leading up to an Eagles game, Johnny.
Okay.
The week leading up to the Eagles game, there's two Eagles fans. There's the Monday morning, I am terrified for the game on Sunday, but come Wednesday, Thursday, all of a sudden they're confident.
They're the people who last year told you all summer long, Packers, I'm picking the Packers game as a loss.
That's a little bit.
And then like 2 days before the Packers game, it's like, Eagles are going to win.
That's different.
No, same thing.
No,
same exact people.
That's different.
They're cowards.
Anyways,
they're absolute cowards.
There's also the people.
And you know who they are.
On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning leading up to the week, everything's good. They're fine. They're ready for the next game. And then it's the reverse. Thursday, Friday, they start getting nervous, right? They have the game day jitters Sunday morning. We're kind of doing that right now, it seems, with Jahad Campbell. Now, here's the reason. We're getting more information, right? When he falls to 31, we're all wondering, how did this guy fall to 31? He's a top 10 player on everybody's board. Is it because he's a linebacker? Is it because there's the confusion of whether or not he could be an edge rusher or a linebacker? Like, what is making this guy fall when everybody had him on their top 10 board? And I mean everybody. Mel Kiper's, Daniel Jeremiah's, Andrew DeCecco, right? Field Yates. And if he wasn't in the top 10, he was in the top 15. Nobody had this guy falling as far as he did, or in terms of overall talent, being a 31st overall selection. So what happened? Adam Schefter joined us earlier in the week, and he talked about what maybe led some teams to decide not to draft a guy that a lot of people thought was a top 10 talent.
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
Okay, that's you're scaring the hell out of people at 6:10 in the morning.
Oh, 6:05. So
6:05.
We got 5 minutes to feel better.
Maybe you can talk them off the ledge, because that's a scary message from
It is. Now, here's the deal. The Eagles, and every team does their evaluation.
Okay.
Medical, right? Who they are as a person, you name it. What gets somebody on your board, what gets somebody off your board. Some teams clearly had him off the board. The Eagles were ready to trade up to pick 22, as confirmed by Adam Schefter yesterday on Wednesday. They were willing to trade up to 22 to select him. They only had to end up moving up one spot to get Campbell. So the Eagles clearly feel a certain type of way about Jahad Campbell and, of course, his health. But then there was also that report we read earlier in the week from Albert Breer where it almost seemed like, and maybe he did some talking to people. He didn't quote anybody.
I guarantee you Breer's talking to people.
But I'm sure he talked to somebody where in his story he said the Eagles were willing to take a risk.
No, I mean, it was clear, and even Adam led us to that the Eagles had the ability to, because of this roster, to absorb that risk. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I hate that. And I don't hate the player, but if someone says to me, I'm going to, like, I am as an investor, I will sometimes have our money person say to us, John, I've heard something. Would you play with something for $5,000?
Right.
You got $5,000 to play with. I think that $5,000 could easily turn into $15,000 in a couple of weeks. And I'll say for $5,000, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm most likely not going to lose it. So I'll take the risk. With a first-round draft pick, I'm not as comfortable saying, yeah, I might lose or I might I just it struck me weird, and I trust guys like Breer, Schefter, those names mean a lot to me. And it just makes me a little uncomfortable. But I love Jahad Campbell.
Right, the talent. Nobody's saying that the talent is a risk.
I love Jahad Campbell.
Right.
But I know this, and I've said it to you before. If I was a GM, you would probably I would never be able to be Howie Roseman because I wouldn't have the balls that Howie Roseman has.
Right.
Because he has the balls to make a move like that. I don't. I wouldn't. And to me, in the aftermath, I'm saying to myself, God, I hope this works out. Because they really do need, because of the offensive side and all the money that's spent, they need these first-round picks to pay off, and they need cheap labor on the defensive side of the ball for years to come.
Right, look, they need to replenish this defense right away. I mean, we saw how many players that they've lost.
You can't win without Campbell.
Milton Williams.
Right, you need Campbell to step in right away and play.
Yeah.
You need and to be an impact player. You don't have the luxury of him. Well, he may take a few years to come around, or he may be injured now, but boy, is he going to be good down the line. I don't feel like they have the ability to do that, to wait for that. And to me, it's just making me a bit concerned.
All right, so I'm sorry to make the Delaware Valley scared.
We may not.
No,
because there are going to be people out there who aren't scared. Yeah. And I think that, and again, I'm not scared, but it just gives me reason for pause to say, with first-round draft picks, I don't like major question marks.
Right, and it is a question mark.
Now, you tell me a third-round pick, you got me.
Right.
But for a first-round pick, even though it's a great value, the reason it's a great value is because somebody else said, hell no.
Right.
I'm not taking that.
Now, Schefter says in that clip, some GMs or some teams thought, he might need a surgery after his rookie season. And somebody's probably thinking, driving in their car or waking up right now going,
who cares,
who cares? It's after the season. I'll just say this, right? Because I think when you have to weigh your options, you have to think of like the extreme on both ends when you're weighing your options. At some point, you might not be able to deal with pain anymore.
And do I want my first-round pick having to be on a collision course with another surgery in their rookie year?
Right, when you might say now, hey, he might need it after 17 games.
Because what matters more?
But what's supposed to tell you, how am I supposed to know he won't need it after 12 games?
And what matters more for this 2025 Eagles team? What matters is November, December, January.
Right.
Not as much September and October. So it just is it caused me, it's one of those things where, and I get hung up on words sometimes. So sometimes maybe I'm hung up too much on the words about, potential surgeries and everything like that. I'm hoping that I'm just in my head making too much out of it.
And look, in Howie we trust, right? Maybe not blind
on this
faith,
one, you've got to be.
But in Howie we trust,
But you know what, though? In Howie, the general manager, I trust. But Howie, the doctor, I'm not so sure.
All right, so coming up next, we'll talk a little bit more about whether or not we would have made the selection. Would we have taken that risk? You kind of heard John already talk about it, so we'll get more into it coming up next. Also, I'll read you a little bit of the medical from the eyes of Howie Roseman, because he did talk about it on Mad Dog Radio.
The Mad Dog.
So I'll read you what Howie Roseman had to say about the concerns of Jahad Campbell and the shoulder and the shoulders.
Yes.
And the knees.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Knees in this city, man. I don't like it. It's Kincade and Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick, knowing that this defense needs to be replenished and it needs to be inexpensive? Are you concerned at all that they took a risk? And, of course, the risk is the injury history and the future concerns of Jihad Campbell. We played the clip from Adam Schefter. Degenerative knees is what some teams are concerned about, and two shoulders is what some
And
teams are
both
concerned
knees.
about. Yeah, that's
like
scary.
The fact both knees and the other shoulder, so both shoulders and both knees.
Yeah.
That to me is it's just a major risk for a player that I love.
Right, absolutely.
I loved watching him play college football.
So Howie was on with Adam Shine on the
Yes.
Mad Dog Radio Network. And
Rise and shine.
oh, is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
I think it's called Rise and Shine.
I like it. Good for them.
There you go.
Howie was asked about the Jihad Campbell injury concerns, and of course he had to start his answer with, "I'm not a doctor," blah, blah, blah. But here's what he said. We don't look at it like, what's going to happen the day training camp starts. We look at it in the short term and the long term, and we feel like over the long term, this guy is going to be playing the same level of football that he was playing at the University of Alabama, and we will do whatever we can to get him right as quickly as possible.
So in other words, like a Cooper DeJean situation?
Let's get him right, and I think for us, the experience last year with Coop.
Right, there you go. Okay.
People forget Coop missed really almost all of training camp last year. Didn't play until the last preseason game, and nobody thinks about that anymore because of how good of a player he was for us when he got in the lineup, which was week 6 after our bye week forward.
Okay.
So they did look at the Cooper DeJean situation as
I'm
to
hoping
being
it's not
patient.
I'm hoping it's not that, but okay. I get it. Cooper DeJean did not have a degenerative knee condition.
Well,
And
right.
Cooper DeJean did not have both shoulders bad. So I hear Howie, but I think he's spinning there.
Could
I think
be.
he's spinning it there. There was nothing degenerative with Cooper DeJean. Nobody had any degenerative concerns with Cooper DeJean. So I don't think that is a rational comparison of making a comparison to Cooper DeJean.
Well, maybe it's
it
just
might
trying
be
to make
for
people
this
feel
year.
better.
It might be for this year, but okay. But for the long term, no, nothing was degenerative with Cooper DeJean. I went and read it. There were no concerns about Cooper DeJean with anything that was going to be long standing.
Right.
So that just is. It's just another thing there. He sounds very confident about it.
He does.
In his wording. But man, I like Jihad Campbell. I also wonder whether Howie's fibbing. A little bit.
About the trade up.
Yes.
Like you still think maybe Starks was on the
I
table
think he was.
for him?
If they were moving up to the LA Chargers, I'm going to tell you that if Howie Roseman was moving up there, I got a feeling that it was Malachi Starks that they were going for. And when he doesn't get Malachi Starks, he sees the great value in Jihad Campbell and grabs him because he doesn't want to. You don't want to talk about a player. Well, we really wanted Malachi Starks.
Right, of course.
So he's going to lie to us. And when I say lie, I don't mean I'm not accusing the man of being a liar. I'm just saying he tells us a story because he had to trade right to that. If he trades to that point, he could have jumped the Ravens.
You know what? Everybody, the Rappaports and even Shefty, we asked Shefty straight up. He said it was for camp.
Yeah, where do you think they got that from?
I know they're getting the information from Howie.
I mean, if they got that directly from Howie. So to me, what is Howie going to tell them? Howie's going to tell them, we got our guy.
Yeah.
Every guy tells them we got our guy. I think it was Starks, but again, I never even thought about this with our Georgia story. They did get their second dog
They did.
before training camp.
Smile
Now,
Mondin.
Smile is, and everybody smiles with Smile, and they love him in Athens.
Yeah.
So, but he wasn't what I was expecting.
All right, so coming up next, this is a show of fairness, as you guys all know. All right, we look at both sides of the discussion.
We do.
In fairness to the Eagles, we will look at the other picks that were on the board at the time. Was anyone else around pick 32, of course, in this case 31 because they traded up,
Sure.
worthy of the first round pick? Let's see who went early in round 2 that maybe you could have taken instead of Jihad Campbell.
I like
or
this
you go,
exercise.
you know what? This was the guy they should have gotten. We'll go through that next. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday of 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies fall to the Nationals. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their three-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2, and he only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run. But more mishaps in the field did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phillies continue their homestand tonight as the Arizona Diamondbacks come to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound for the Phils. He'll be facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. The offseason is flying by for the Eagles, and the next big thing on the NFL calendar is the schedule release on May 14th. But Rob Motti from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should have circled on their calendars.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
So we'll keep you up on everything up to date on that front leading up until the owners vote on that in 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by True Green. Summer is better with True Green. Get a lawn you'll love for less than you think. Don't wait. Sign up for True Green now at truegreen.com and get 75% off your first treatment. Restrictions apply. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Howie is just, I don't know.
Friday here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Love hearing that every week.
Hell yeah, man. Go
every
Birds.
Tuesday, every Wednesday.
Go Birds, man.
Tuesday.
So the Eagles select Jahad Campbell with pick 31. And today, we'll get our text messages coming up around 6:40 as we do every single morning at 610-632-0975. Are you concerned that the Eagles took a risk with their first round selection? So
now some people may not be. I mean,
they might not be.
And I'm not worried. It's just it seems like it's a ballsy thing to do.
Well, I found the story from Albert Breer.
Okay.
And again, here's what he wrote in his story of the selection of Jahad Campbell. With Campbell, it's his shoulders and knees. Yes, plural on both counts. And again, this is one where the Eagles are more equipped to take on the risk than others because they don't need the pick to hit.
Yes, they do.
It's that final sentence that really bothers me.
They do need the pick to hit. What is it like seriously there? Like what's he saying? They do need the pick to hit. They absolutely do need the pick to hit. Like what's he saying there? The Eagles do need their first round pick to hit.
Yeah, 32 teams need their first round pick to
and
hit.
more importantly, to sustain what they've got going on, they need it desperately.
Yeah. And this isn't like the NBA draft where it's two rounds and it's like, all right, well, let's take a flyer on a guy with the 30th overall
Let's take the
pick.
guy from Lithuania.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. You should do that because the guy can ball, certainly.
Even in radio, you might take a shot on him.
In this case, the first round pick is gold.
It's gold. And you need to hit on your first round picks. Like
unless you trade it out.
It's the number one
whatever.
part of every team's roster is number one picks.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have a luxury of not having your number one pick hit.
So again, in fairness, let's look at who was available.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear this one. So, let's think. Can we think tight ends? Let's focus on some tight ends.
I will go through the names of players that were drafted after Jahad Campbell.
Okay.
At pick 32, Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle out of Ohio State.
He absolutely is a hell of a player, and gosh, you could have had him as a top offensive line prospect moving forward.
But
that would have been a luxury.
But
yeah,
I don't think the Chiefs are making that trade if they know that the Eagles are taking them. The Chiefs ended up drafting him, so the Chiefs were one spot ahead of the Eagles. They probably wanted Josh Simmons.
Chiefs couldn't guarantee. Chiefs didn't have a guarantee of who the Eagles were taking.
You don't think they have an idea when they make the conversations?
They have an idea. The Eagles made the trade with an idea that the Chiefs were potentially going to take either player.
Right.
The Eagles didn't give them a guarantee.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I would just think that the Chiefs were going to select Simmons at 31 or 32.
Well, they certainly needed him if you watched the Super Bowl.
Right. All right. So now the second round. Carson Schwessinger, the linebacker out of UCLA.
I didn't know him well, so I don't know much about him.
Jaden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State.
They weren't taking him.
No. Nicky Manwari, who the safety out of South Carolina, I know a lot of people had maybe going to the Eagles.
A lot of people liked him, but
Andrew DeCecco was not a big fan of his.
Weren't high on him.
A lot of people seem to not be high on him.
I wasn't high on him either.
Yeah, DeCecco's big thing with him was he's not a fit. He was a Cam Chancellor safety in the box, and the Eagles don't need that.
I wasn't high on him.
So if it wasn't going to fit with the Eagles, then why pick him?
That makes sense.
Quinshawn Judkins, the running back at Ohio State. They weren't going to pick him. They weren't going to select him. I'm not even going to attempt the last name. Jonah S., the offensive guard out of Arizona.
I don't know. Again, I don't know enough about him.
And why would you be drafting a guard at pick 32?
No, you wouldn't have.
When you just signed Landon Dickerson, you have Cam Jurgens. Obviously, right guard you don't know the future of, but they've been pretty good with plug and play right guard. They weren't going to use their first round pick on a right guard.
You're making a good case here.
Trevion Henderson, running back at Ohio State.
They weren't taking him.
Luther Burden, the wide receiver out of Missouri.
Now, Burden's a hell of a player, but they weren't taking him.
At 32, they were not. Tyler Show, or Shuck, actually. I saw him tweet that it's Shuck.
Shuck.
How about that? Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. They weren't going to pick him.
They weren't taking him.
And now all of a sudden we're getting to pick 41, a defensive tackle out of South Carolina, TJ Sanders. But that's 41. That would have been
9
spots later.
It would have been a complete reach unless you're trading back because somebody, and we don't know that anybody wanted to trade up.
Right.
To that spot.
Into 32.
So you can't just assume that somebody, because people will always say that. Well, trade back. you got to assume. You can't assume.
The reports were 70 cents on the dollar for the first round. For the
Absolutely.
top 10 picks.
For the top 10 picks.
Imagine what it was for pick 32. And then you finally get to a player where we all had our eyes on, Mason Taylor, but he was the 10th overall selection in the second round. So it's not like he went 33.
And nobody, and depending on what people were willing to pay, do you say Mason Taylor's not worth trading back for when I could get a player that was a top 10 guy on our board,
pick, right.
on our board that has some medical risk?
Right. So in fairness, even though I'm with you, John, I understand the concerns, and I hate the wording from Albert Breer.
I think that's what I'm getting hung up
They don't
on.
need the pick to hit. Like, yeah, you do need the pick to hit. If you want to sustain success, if you want to be a dynasty, right? Because now the Eagles have won a Super Bowl, been to 2 in the last 3 years. We're now talking about that being a possibility. We're not saying it's going to happen or it needs to happen.
Be in the mix every year for a championship like the next 3.
So you need your early round picks to hit. You don't have a third round pick because you traded that one away. So you have your top 3 picks. One is a question mark because of injuries. The second is a question mark because of size in Makuba. And then the third is a question mark just because of his age, and you drafted him in the 4th round in Ty Robinson. But again, in fairness to the Eagles, it's not like there was anybody in the next 8 or 9 picks that you were going, damn, they should have gotten that guy instead.
Is it weird, though, that it just sort of, to me, seems like that it seems sort of like not a Howie Roseman draft? Like, I mean, and I'm not,
yeah, but last year didn't seem like one either. 2 cornerbacks in the first 2 rounds?
Yeah, but the players, the philosophy didn't. But this one seems a little riskier. Just seems a little riskier.
What's the appropriate time to take the risk on a top 10 guy on your board? Like, if he's there at 31, I feel like that is the appropriate time to do that.
It seems like
risk.
it would be. It seems like it would be if you're going to do it.
Especially in consideration with everybody we just listed. Who else were they going to take even if they traded back? Like, nobody else was that high on their board.
You could say a risk is also a reach, right?
I guess if you told me this, I also liked Mason Taylor a lot.
Me too.
If you told me that Howie made that move at 31, and then he packaged up 2 day 3 picks to move up and get Mason Taylor in the 2nd round, I may have a totally different feeling about it.
Right.
Like, it's like, okay.
Or even if they took him at 32. Like, I was on board for them selecting him at 32. But again, the draft board talks, and the draft board tells you that he fell what would have been 10 spots from 32 to 42.
Okay, though, the thing is, though, if that's what the draft board talks, then that means the draft board talked on Jahad Campbell, too.
That's true.
And medical staffs around the NFL said,
Well, another part of this conversation has to be how much credit do you give to the Eagles' medical staff? We're talking about a team that's been to the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years with what? Like 43 out of the 44 starters readily available in the final game of the season?
Here's when they'll get credit if he stays healthy. Like,
if he stays healthy.
I can't credit them for making a selection that other people passed up on. You get the credit if he stays healthy.
You got to get the credit when you end up being right.
Right. Yeah, I can't give you credit
and
ahead
guess
of
what?
time.
They may end up being right, Gunner. You may be right with that. They may end up getting, being right with this thing.
And if they're right, you got tremendous talent.
And again, you wouldn't want me as your general manager because I wouldn't have the guts to make the call.
Would you have done it, Gunner?
At that point, I would have done it. I mean,
that makes
talent,
sense.
The reward for that risk at that point in the draft, to me, it's worth taking that shot. 31 in the draft, you're talking about a guy you had top 10 on your board at a position that you probably are going to need a starter, at least to start the season with Nakobe Dean not there. A guy that can maybe be used as a Swiss Army knife later on. When Nakobe Dean comes back, you can use him off the edge maybe. It all depends on that health, though.
But here's what you're saying. Listen to what you're saying. You're talking about, well, they need him because of Nakobe Dean's health. See, I already got a guy with a health issue. So you're bringing in a guy with much more health issues to be like the insurance policy for the guy with health issues? Plus, if you're talking about the beginning of the season, it sounds like Howie Roseman is laying the groundwork for he may not be ready for the beginning of the season.
Could be.
So then you could have Nakobe and him both not ready for the beginning of the season.
And then you're in trouble if that's the case.
Well, good thing you still have fullback linebacker Ben Van Sumeren ready, even though he's officially just a fullback now.
But that would make Andrew DiCecco excited.
Damn right it would. All right, so we want to hear from you. 610-632-0975. Are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick? Or Do you have the mindset that Albert Breer had in the story where he goes, look, the Eagles had the luxury. The Eagles don't need it to hit. Now, I think that's crazy to say.
Luxury is it's an arrogant word.
It is an arrogant word. Maybe he means more so for year one. I don't know.
It couldn't know that. You know what?
Maybe we'll try to get Albert on.
Right.
And we'll talk to him about it, get his actual opinion on it. But how do you feel about the Eagles taking a risk? Not a major risk where this guy's never going to play, but a risk where the knees and the shoulders could maybe impact how great of a career he has. You can text in at 610-632-0975. We'll check our text line for the first time this morning coming up next. Also, to start the 7 o'clock hour today, we'll react to yesterday's Phillies loss to the Nationals, and we look ahead because a team I hate comes to town. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday morning here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you, so text us at 610-632-0975. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick, knowing the injury history and future concerns of Jihad Campbell? Or is this in Howie we trust? They did their due diligence. They did their research. This isn't a risk at all. Or do you have that belief that Albert Breer has, where the Eagles don't necessarily need their first-round pick to hit?
Which I just hate the wording. I hate that wording.
Yeah.
They do need it to hit.
I know the Eagles are good right now, but we have seen when they've been bad first-round picks not hitting and how much that's kept them from getting back to being successful teams.
Yes.
The same can go as a talented team. It could then maybe not set you back where you're not making the playoffs, but
when you have injuries
and when it's time to start paying your previous draft picks that did hit, you need to be able to replenish with the younger players. So it is a bit concerning knowing that they drafted a guy with all this injury history. But I do have to trust Howie and the medical staff because I don't think they just were like, let's see what happens.
The one thing is,
let's gamble here.
You're trusting them where 30 teams ahead of them said,
Well, when you're trying to say all 30.
Well, I would imagine that there were 30 teams that had him as a top 15 prospect.
Yeah, but like the Titans weren't going to draft him.
Okay, no, I get you.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say 30.
Okay.
Maybe 15
10?
though. Maybe
10?
yeah. I mean, it's still a decent number.
Like one of the things I keep coming back to though is you're going to have to stay cheap for a long time with Jalen Carter coming up. A bunch of guys coming down the pike that are going to get paid big time. How much value did they put in that fifth-year option?
Right,
like
that
you
could
get
be
a top 10 guy with a fifth-year option.
That's another one. Yeah,
that's a big part. Good job,
Gunner, you're smarter than you look.
Good job, Gunner. All right, what do we got?
Strathaven proud.
What are the people saying on the text line this morning? You can text the show at 610-632-0975.
Yeah, we got John V checking in, said, I'm not scared of this pick at the moment. For now, the Eagles and Howie have my trust. 4 past years of great drafts. The Flyers and the Sixers, on the other hand, they're in improvement mode. The Eagles are not.
Why? How did the Flyers
catching
why
catching
the Sixers
strays?
getting strays?
Now, I love how John V says at the moment.
Right.
And it's
okay.
All right, sure, at the moment.
Yeah, but you know what though? John V's right. At the moment. Yeah. You got to give him your. I hate because I know Gunner hates blind faith because I've heard him on the weekend. I heard him do this on his show on the weekend.
It's not blind faith though. Like he's earned it.
You know, like, he's earned. But the only thing is, has he earned it medically? He's earned it talent wise, and believe me, Jihad Campbell, just talent wise, I love the pick.
Right.
Like capital L, love the pick. But it just gives me the.
Well, our next texter might think he earned it.
Health-wise?
What do we got?
Can you say Landon Dickerson? He came into the league with the same injury concerns, and you see how great he is right now.
Can you say Nakobe Dean?
Well, they got him third round, though.
Yeah, I'll raise you Nakobe Dean. It's.
Yeah, but maybe they think it's not as bad with Jihad Campbell, and that's why they were willing to use a first-round
So he's
pick
1 for 1. Nakobe Dean's been injured every year of his career.
Now, Landon Dickerson is a home run because he had a season-ending injury in like 4 straight years. Not like blown out ACL, but like something that knocked him out for the remainder of the season for like 4 straight years. And he's been, for the most part, very healthy with this Eagles team.
He's been immensely
He
healthy.
leaves games, he gets dinged up, but for the most part, I mean, he's been a very healthy player. So that's a good point. Now, I also wonder, and maybe I can't put 2 and 2 together here, but it's worth talking about.
Okay.
They did get burned before with the concerns of injuries. DK Metcalf, they took off the board right away. They draft J.J. Arcega-Whiteside instead.
So they go, we made a mistake before, let's not be overly cautious.
Right.
Okay.
Because that killed them, right? That was at the time of the wide receivers where they were desperate for a wide receiver.
How much do you guys think that 2 rings in 8 seasons and 3 Super Bowl trips in 8 seasons also maybe makes you say, we're more likely to roll the dice now?
Yeah, we know and we have a feel of what we're doing here. And that's one of those things where like we could question Howie. We always should. Right. That's why you and I
nobody's questioning him like, yeah, dope.
Right. No.
But still.
And we're also not doing the blind faith. Like whatever Howie says is gospel, right? But here's the deal. If I'm Howie Roseman, and let's say we're just sitting down, I'm having a cup of coffee, you're having a glass
unsweet
of
tea.
Unsweetened tea, which is horrible.
It's delicious.
And whatever Howie likes to drink, right? Howie's ripping shots with Jason Kelsey. Maybe he's just drinking
Didn't
bourbon.
look like a shot guy when he took the shot.
No, he didn't, but whatever. Maybe he's getting pelted in the forehead with a beer can. When we're sitting down together, he may go, yo, guys, just trust me on this one, all right? Look at what I've accomplished.
And the thing is, Howie has every right now to do that.
Yeah, he's got that trump card. Like, he absolutely has that.
Three Super Bowls in 8 years, in 8 seasons is absolutely, and 2 rings.
Well, and so going back to our texter who says, unlike the Sixers and Flyers, like if Daryl Morey sat down with us and said,
you can't do it.
Trust me on this one, guys.
No.
I would say, well, what can you back that with? The trust me, bro. Like, we all have the trust me, bro moment in our life. You've done it. You've probably said it to somebody.
Yep.
Somebody has said it to you. Trust me, bro. Trust me. Right? And you might not trust them, but you're going to go, all right, this guy has backed it up numerous times.
Right.
A guy like Daryl Morey, if he says, trust me, bro, I can't. Like, I'm sorry.
No, you can't.
We're getting a guy that's 40 years old with bad knees.
Right.
And you give Joel Embiid $200 million, which you didn't need to give him.
Sorry, Daryl. But, it's how the conversation
I'll
went,
take the crumble cookie at this point.
Exactly.
Tobias.
It's unbelievable.
Tobias. Series ends for the Pistons. Good series for the Pistons. Yeah.
Tobias with a great year for the Pistons.
But you guys keep talking about risk rewards, right?
Right.
Like, at what point does the promise come in where you can say, well, there's not a guy there that has the promise of a Jahad Campbell. Maybe that's a bigger risk than his injury.
And that's why we went through the names that were drafted.
Well, here's what I would say to you is, what if somebody, we do not know this happened, so this is complete fiction.
Yeah.
What if somebody would have said to him, Howie, could we have this year's first-round pick, and we'll trade you next year's first-round pick, this year's second-round pick, and you get our first-round pick next year? Would you have passed on the medical risk?
It's hard for me to punt with the team that has the most projected wins by Vegas. Like,
well, you're picking
not punting
but
per
you're
se.
you're picking up their second-round pick for this year, and you're picking. So you would have had an extra second-round.
It would have had to been in the top 42 to me.
Okay, well, let's say it was. I would have done that in a second.
Yeah, because you'd probably have a top 10 pick next year.
But again, what I'm saying is I'm gutless when it comes to I'm risk adverse.
Right.
Which would have made me a lousy general manager. Because to me, I would have been a lousy GM because I wouldn't have swung for the fences there. And I love Jahad Campbell, and I would have gone, nah, I can't do it.
All right, let's say it was the Falcons pick. Remember the Falcons made the trade with the Rams?
Oh, I would have done that in a second.
So you get next year's one from the Falcons,
in a second.
which would have been probably middle first round.
No, let's say 20.
And then you would have gotten pick 46, which, by the way,
would have done it.
Terrence Ferguson, tight end.
I would have done it.
Oregon goes to the Rams.
Yeah, I would have done it.
Interesting.
I absolutely would have done that.
Well, I also have this weird biased goggles on right now where I'm like, I'm kind of happy they didn't take a tight end because I think the best chance for them to win next year is convincing Dallas Goedert to come back.
Well, the thing is, though,
you're on the borderline devastated train with me.
Yes.
Yeah, but here's what I'm going to say to you both on your train is that I don't want anyone that I have to, cajole. And he's already sort of turned down a contract offer. I don't want anyone that has to be begged to come back to a...
Listen, here's what we do. Brendan, all the times I've ever said borderline devastated about Dallas Goedert leaving, just grab it, and then we'll send it to him, gift wrapped, and say, hey, you got to stay for Andrew. All right? For Andrew's sake, you got to stay.
Okay.
And for the city of Philadelphia, damn it.
Please, Dallas.
For us. All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topic. Also, to start the 7 o'clock hour, we'll get into the Phillies, who lost last night to the Nationals. And then we look ahead a little bit because there is a team in town that is a new name on the list of hate. It is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies dropped one to the Nationals. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2 and only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run, but more mishaps in the field did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phillies continue that homestand tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are coming to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound for the Phils. He'll be facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45, and the offseason is flying around against the NFL, and the next big date on the calendar for the football is May 14th, the schedule release. But Rob Mattison from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should have circled on their calendars.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
We'll keep you updated on that front leading up to the owners' vote coming up in a couple of weeks. This update was brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection today at groundworks.com. This update is on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hall of Fame baseball insider Jason Stark.
I've thought for a long time that focus is Trey Turner's problem, and that shouldn't happen with a player.
Four here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Talk about the Phillies loss to the Nationals yesterday coming up in a few minutes. But just to once again remind you of what we're talking about so far this morning, and we'd love to hear from you at 610-632-0975. We'll check the text line here in a second. Are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick? Let's play the Shefty cut one more time here, Gunner. Shefty joined us on Wednesday, and we asked him, hey, why did Jahad Campbell fall? He was a top 10 talent on a lot of people's big boards, and if he wasn't in the top 10, he was in the top, I don't even want to say 15, John. He was in like the top 12 of everybody's big boards, and he falls to 31. Now, part of it could be position, right? You're not sure if he's going to be a linebacker or an edge rusher.
I think it was injury, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we're getting to. But
got to be, right?
There's some teams that obviously didn't pass on him. They just, like Cam Ward, the Titans weren't selecting Jahad Campbell with the first overall pick. And I imagine there's like 5 teams that could not see themselves drafting a linebacker / edge rusher with a top 5 pick. Like Cam Ward going number 1, no surprise. Travis Hunter going number 2, no surprise. Abdul Carter going number 3, absolutely no surprise, right?
Great picks.
So then we could start talking about, did these teams pass on Jahad Campbell? Here's what Shefty had to say earlier this week about why he slipped.
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
And so that's something to keep an eye on. And that's why we're asking the question. Are you concerned that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick? Because there's already talks of shoulder surgery after his rookie season.
For the other shoulder, and they operated on the other shoulder this year.
Right. And I'll just say this.
And
again,
degenerative, both knees.
If somebody, because I'm somebody that's always cautious, like you are, John. And I'm okay with the pick, but I'm somebody that's always cautious. For Shefty to say people believe he'll get shoulder surgery after his rookie season, how are we not supposed to know or think that it could happen earlier? You never know. Like, you take one bad shot in week 8 after 7 weeks of wear and tear on that shoulder, you might need surgery earlier on. And as you said, you need him in November, December, January.
But it sounds like Howie was depicting him like much more like
Cooper DeJean. He compared him to DeJean on Mad Dog Radio.
Well, then that means that not ready to go.
And that means you're hoping to Kobe Dean, and if not, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
And Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Next man up.
I don't know.
At least year 2 in the system with Vic
Year
Fangio.
2 could be, yes.
All right, what do we got on the text
I think
line?
they will see Smile as having a higher upside.
You said that yesterday. I could see it.
And I believe that.
I could see it.
Well, he played against better competition, and I think was a better candidate. But I want to hear that from DeCecco.
Right.
I want to hear what DeCecco has to say.
All right, what do we got on the text line, Gunner?
We got CJ and Chester checking in, saying when Breer says the Eagles don't need it to hit, I think he means just for this upcoming year. They already have playmakers on all 3 levels. Why not take that risk and maybe get an all-pro? Who else at that spot had that much promise?
Right, that's why I said maybe we'll get him on maybe next week, because maybe he did mean year 1.
He might have meant
you
year
don't need Jahad Campbell to be Jahad Campbell in year 1. But when I hear Adam Schefter then say degenerative knees, I go, all right.
How many people can stash a number 1 pick? If it's not a quarterback. How many teams, any team in the NFL, they all need their number 1 picks to hit.
Well, it depends. Well, to hit year 1, or are you saying to hit
year 1? Like year 1.
It depends on what are you
number
drafting.
1 picks, how about this? Number 1 picks around the NFL are expected to be starters.
Unless you're drafting the replacement to Lane Johnson. Or, I know Cam Jurgens was a 2nd-round pick, but Cam Jurgens didn't play his rookie season. And then they eventually put him at guard because they just needed to get him on the field, because they probably had to tell themselves, we can't have our 2nd-round pick sit another year. Let's play him at guard. He ended up doing a decent job.
Did a good job.
I was really concerned about that because I thought they forced him on the field because, again, Jason Kelce decided to come back, which I was totally fine with. But then you're looking around going, oh, we need to get this guy on the field. We'd use a 2nd-round pick on him. We can't have him sit for 2 years. But it ended up working out for them.
It worked.
All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. We're going to get into a conversation about good hate coming up in a few minutes. But first, the Phillies played the Nationals last night. Johnny, it was the final game of their 3-game series. Phillies took the first 2, but they lost last night 4-2. And again, got to tip the cap. Taijuan Walker did his job.
5 scoreless innings.
Hell of a play in that first inning. The dive and then the glove flip to Bryce Harper, who barehanded. I'm sure it's going to be on top 10 plays somewhere on Sports Center.
Unbelievable.
He ends up going 5 2/3. He gives up 1 earned run, and he took the liner back to the leg, which messed him up.
And again, I'm just going to say it here. I'm not managing a baseball team, but it doesn't take rocket science to manage a baseball game. You have, and I said it on the air yesterday, so it's not 20/20 hindsight. Mm-hmm. You have Taijuan Walker, again, pitching a freaking gem. 5 scoreless innings. And Rob Thompson has no one up in the bullpen. He's over 60-something pitches. He has nobody up in the bullpen.
Hold on a second.
You know he's a ticking time bomb.
Hold on a second.
What?
If he pulled them after 5 innings.
Not saying pull him. You have to have somebody stretched. It's the second time in a week that Rob Thompson had nobody ready, that when his pitcher explodes, he has to wait because they got to rush somebody up in the bullpen. They got to rush to get somebody up, so they couldn't get him out of the game. They couldn't take him out after he gets hit by a line drive.
You really think he should have been having somebody stretching after 5 scoreless innings?
Because
the Nationals?
Because it's Taijuan Walker. Yes, I do. And I would.
I disagree with you.
I absolutely would, because you have to assume that Taijuan Walker is the time bomb that's going to explode. Well, you got 5 innings out of him. You go, holy moly, this is great.
I got ripped after saying that after his first start.
No, I'm saying all along. I said it yesterday, so it's not 20/20 hindsight.
I know, but as the game's playing out, you really were sitting on your couch going, they should have somebody stretching here.
He had pitched yesterday. I said it. He had pitched 19 2/3 innings with zeros. Mm-hmm. He had pitched 3 innings where he gave up a run. So add 5 more to that. So he had 24 2/3 innings scoreless and 3 innings he'd given up a run. You are sitting at that point going, we have gotten the best we can get out of Taijuan Walker. 5 innings scoreless. That is like, you are so thrilled. At least have a security blanket ready. At least put your seatbelt on and be ready.
Man, I don't know. You got to go through the feel of the game.
Wow.
In the top of the 5th.
And the feel of the game at that point, I'm saying to myself, this is awesome, but we see with Taijuan Walker, it can go bad quickly.
Top of the 5th inning.
It can go quickly.
He gets a ground out.
And he gets drilled.
He gets a ground out in the top of the 5th inning. He strikes out Jose Tena on 7 pitches.
Top of the 6th I'm talking about.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, in the 5th inning,
right?
Quick ground out, strikeout, quick fly out.
Right. So you got
to tell me after that 1, 2, 3 inning, you're calling the bullpen and telling somebody to stretch?
Saying, get somebody stretched. Just get somebody up and throwing. Somebody comfortable. It is the second time in a matter of 10 days that he didn't have anybody up. That the 10-9 game was the other one where he's like, the 11-10 game. Romano, he's up by 7 runs. There's no chance we're in trouble here. He didn't have anybody up, and he had to end up leaving Romano in until he made it 11-10 because he had nobody even stretching. You just have somebody up and stretching. There's no harm in that. Have anybody up and going. So you can say,
well, then you could say that about literally any inning.
No.
You could say that about the 2nd inning, the 3rd inning, the 4th.
I think once you get to the 5th inning, though, with Taijuan Walker, though, dude, you're expecting it to fall apart.
Right,
but
it's the 6th. This is the 6th.
At the point.
No, because you're expecting it. You've done nothing. Here it is. Here's what doesn't make sense. You being the messenger of this message. Because you have done nothing but snicker and trash the guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets through 5
trash the guy. I just say I'm waiting. I'm ready for him to not be in the rotation.
You have snickered at everything with this guy this year.
Sure.
And he has had a great season.
Yes.
And he's pitched better than Aaron Nola by a mile.
Not a great season.
I'm not defending Aaron Nola.
I'm saying by his standards, by what you expected out of your 5th starter. By the way, he's been
still an average season.
He's been one of the best 5th starters in the game. Around Major League Baseball. He's been one of the best 5th starters. I think they said last night in the graphic he was top 4.
So was Spencer Turnbull last year.
You have got out of the start of the season. Spencer Turnbull was a fill-in that came in out of nowhere. You're in the top 4 guys. You've gotten a lottery ticket. It's the 6th inning. You're expecting it to fall apart. And if you're not, you haven't been paying attention. And that's what Sleepy Rob does. He doesn't pay attention. And that's what it is. You don't pay
He has
attention.
a 1, 2, 3, fifth inning, and you're ready to say,
Yes, I'm ready. No, I'm not ready to take
60
him.
pitches.
I'm not ready to take him out, but I'm ready to say it's not Wheeler.
Yeah,
It's
what are you
Taijuan
going,
Walker.
What are you going into the 7th inning with Taijuan Walker still in the game? Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably
You
not,
got
but that
somebody
was the
stretched
sixth.
out. You have
That's
somebody
60
stretched
pitches
down.
against the Nationals, who have no offense.
How
They
many
stink.
times? How many times do you let Taijuan Walker throw 60, 70 pitches? You got to be ready. You have to pay attention. But no, he got lulled into, well, everything's good. This is a good game. Didn't expect
Yeah,
any
he was
problems.
pitching good. Of course he's going to say any
No,
manager would say that.
He's not Wheeler. He's not even Nola. He's not Luzardo. He's not Sanchez.
saying he's any of
You
those
have
guys.
to prepare.
Well, how much does the bullpen usage come into play here? Like maybe I can sneak in another inning out of this guy and keep it going.
Maybe.
Well, you can. It doesn't hurt to have somebody up. Just stretch it out.
You got a bigger series.
You're
You got
not
a bigger
hurting.
series.
We did the
on
whole
hand.
analytic thing yesterday. I mean, they're counting these bullpen pitches these days towards that.
We've just been talking about how these guys have been pitching too much.
There's
Walker's
nothing-
dealing. Why would you pull him too early?
You don't have to pull him. You have somebody ready. So when your pitcher gets drilled with a line drive, you've got somebody that potentially
You can't
can be
prepare
ready.
for that.
You can't
No,
go,
no, but you've
he
got
might
something-
get drilled by
or-
a liner next inning. Let me
It
have
could be
somebody ready.
with
Yeah,
Taijuan
lightning might
Walker.
strike.
With Taijuan Walker, could you not see a 4 pitches and in 4 pitches he gives up 3 hits?
I could see it.
Yes,
yeah.
you could.
I could see that in the first
in
inning.
a 1-0. So that's why you have to be prepared in the 6th. You just made my case. You just said
So
it
you
for
gotta
me.
base it off the feel of how the game's
No.
going. And in the 5th
Rob-
inning, the inning before, he goes 1, 2, 3,
Rob
and 10
Thompson
pitches.
has no feel. He has no feel for a game. He's like freaking Captain
Dude,
Hook.
Come on, I know you don't like Rob Thompson's strategy.
He has strategy. He doesn't have strategy. He plays Candyland.
Dude, you're basing this off of result too much. He was grooving at the time. You
Oh,
weren't
my
going to
gosh.
pull him out or
No,
have
you're
anybody
not saying
stretching
pull him
or
out.
having anybody
yes, you
ready.
could. You could have
No.
somebody stretching.
Wow.
You could have somebody stretching. My
I
God.
got to start stretching for a round of golf.
You should.
My God.
Absolutely.
All right, coming up next.
The defender of Taijuan Walker, Andrew Salciunas.
Not
It's
defending
unbelievable.
Taiwan. I'm defending Rob Thompson.
Oh, man.
All right.
Well, everything's fine.
Phillies welcome a team in town that we should forever hate.
We should.
Even though the Phillies are the ones to blame for it, but whatever. We open up a good segment of hate next as the Phillies welcome the Diamondbacks to town. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Roseman's draft get in the way of the reality of it.
on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Friday morning. Check out the deal of the week. Von C. Brewing Company. Love them. Get a $50 Von C. Brewing Company gift card for just $25.
One of my favorites.
Get a taste of Philly brewing history. Von C. Brewing Company in Norristown. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals.
When going to Von C, though, don't cut through Delco. You might run into the Delco pooper.
Yeah, that was insane.
Be very careful. Go to Von C, though. You will love it. Von C Brewing's awesome.
Is that coming up in headlines at all, the aftermath?
Yeah.
Is it?
Why not?
Oh, good. Delco
Okay.
pooper? Yes.
Just because, like...
It made national news last night.
Yeah.
And all I can think of is Delco has become nationally known. Part of it is Jimmy Fallon and Tina Fey doing the whole bit on Saturday Night Live, which is always funny. Tina Fey in the Villanova sweatshirt.
Oh, and then the mayor of what?
Mayor of Easttown.
Easttown.
Filmed in my backyard pretty
Yeah,
much.
so like that became a big show. I mean, that was a pretty
that was a huge show.
Big show. And
It was a huge
And
show.
even though it wasn't like the joke of Delco,
And by the way,
did have a lot of Delco tendencies in the show.
And the thing is, Easttown's not even Delco. That's what's really strange.
Yeah, well,
Easttown's in Chester County.
They made it Delco.
They made it
They did
Delco.
whatever they could to make it Delco.
Easttown's Chester County.
Yeah,
but
it's typically technically filmed in Wallingford.
No,
though,
it is.
which
Oh, no,
which
it
is
was.
Delco.
It was
Yeah.
right near you where there's a lot of degenerates in Wallingford,
Yes,
just
a lot.
like
I
you.
still remember the SNL. They
No
murdered.
poopers,
They
though.
murdered my dirter.
They murdered my dirter, and the detective's eating the Wawa hoagie over
Drinking
the body,
Yingling.
dripping the Wawa hoagie on the body,
Ew.
and then Gritty is in the woods.
Yeah, it was a great. That was a great
Well,
skit.
we'll get to the pooper in an hour.
Yeah, good.
Well,
That's
but I'm
unbelievable.
surprised you didn't book her for the show.
Yeah, honestly, dude, if you're a good producer,
I think we would have had her on the show.
we were
I
joking around
guarantee you
before
that.
the show. You would have gotten her bailed, and then you would have brought her in studio.
I guarantee.
Listen, man, I don't want poop flying around the walls.
I guarantee you, Peter and Stan down the hall probably already have her booked for the show.
Oh, yeah, she's good. Yeah.
And I would say this: somebody I went to high school with knows her, is her aunt or uncle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or is related to her.
Yeah, at least the same parish.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know, there's somebody on Facebook saying she's misunderstood. All
Well,
right,
no, the one lady says.
Yeah, relax,
Yes, we'll get to it.
We'll get to
Yes.
it. All right, so the Phillies begin a series with the Diamondbacks today. And they are a team that from now until the end of my life, I will hate. Even though it's not necessarily their fault, it's the Phillies' fault for gagging away games 6 and 7 at home in the NLCS. And if you remember earlier this week, I told you guys about the moment I had last Friday when I was walking through the main streets of Collingswood. Not the mean streets, the main streets.
So you were looking at like some of the nice shops.
Yeah, and I'm hearing in the background, Dancing on My Own's playing. And I had a visceral reaction to it.
Was Garrett Stubbs there in overalls?
No, he was not there.
He's up in Allentown.
And it made me think about what once was fond memories, and now it's, man, you blew your big opportunity. You didn't blow the Astros series. I know you had a series
No,
lead,
you did not
But
blow
the
the
Astros are a
Astros.
dynasty. You blew that series to the Diamondbacks, and you should have beaten the Texas Rangers in the World Series. And that could have been the shot, because the next year you lose in the first round of the Mets, and we see how the season's playing out so far this year. Not saying they're not going to win.
No.
But look, the Dodgers now got over the hump by winning last year. Who knows if they're back this year? I don't know. We'll find out. It's May 2nd. But that was their shot. But the Diamondbacks now, for the rest of my life, John, when I see that logo, when I see that snake, even though I still love the old purple vests, they look sharp. When I see that logo, I don't think of Randy Johnson anymore. Right? I don't think of Kurt Schilling, Luis Gonzalez, that fun team that won the World
Yankees
Series
after 9/11.
Yeah, like I don't think about Bung Young Kim anymore. All right,
Watch your language.
I loved Bung Young Kim. Awesome windup. I now think of what happened in 2023.
I hate them. I hate Chase Field. And
Yeah.
it was when we were out there for the Super Bowl week. We were down there taking the boys down there near Chase Field, and I'm like, I hate that stadium.
Yeah.
Anybody's been, it's like a mall. It's like a warehouse. It looks like a giant where like Costco
It's just huge.
goes and gets all their
But
stuff.
they have a pool.
It has no things. Yeah, well, they have a pool.
Garrett wanted to swim in it.
Stubbs when the last guy on your roster starts talking trash.
They took me out of context.
When you're up 2-0. Stupid ass. I mean, just so stupid.
The only thing that can make me not hate the Diamondbacks is in like 15 years, Corbin Carroll's still there, and they put his career in a box like they did Yadier and Wainwright and Pujols a couple of years ago.
Well, here's
I hated the Cardinals.
No,
that
but you
the
know
same
what?
way.
If the Phillies don't win a World Series with this core,
Oh, no, I'll always hate
I don't
them.
care what they do in 15 years. I'll always hate the Diamondbacks.
Now, this weekend, we miss their top 2 pitchers, right? We miss both of their.
Merrill
miss
Kelly's
Burns.
going tonight.
We miss Burns.
Oh,
we
he's
miss
another guy.
Gallen went last night,
He's
so
We
another
miss
guy.
Gallen and we miss Burns.
Yeah.
So we
yeah,
miss.
but you know what? I'll always hate Brandon Fart.
We should hate
Right?
him.
Brandon Fart had an ERA over 5,
And the Delco Pooper loves him.
and he shuts down the Phillies.
That
You know,
ended the momentum.
That was
It
terrible.
did. It killed it. This guy, everyone's thinking they're going to go up 3 because I think the Diamondbacks won Game 3, right? So it was 2-0, 2-1, and you're
And
going.
we're going to go up 3-1.
We're going to go up 3-1 because we're facing Brandon Fart, and he
It was
shuts down the Phillies. And again, the Diamondbacks aren't necessarily to blame for the hate. The Phillies are to blame, but they catch the shrapnel on this.
No, they do.
By the way, Merrill Kelly, he was another guy out of context that series.
I'm
Remember?
not scared of
I'm
them.
not scared of Citizens Bank Park. And then the place went nuts. I was at the game that day. That place let him hear it.
Yeah, not for nothing either. Zach Gallen, Philly guy, local guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, family out there listening, but he's a Cardinals fan. How can you be born in this area and be a Cardinals fan?
Yeah, you know what?
Correct.
He's one of those guys, and I know his cousin. I played baseball with his cousin, so I've talked to him about this before. Not only the Cardinals thing. After the series, he was retweeting like anti-Philly stuff.
Oh, that's bad.
First off, you're from here, bro. That's number one. Number two, in the 2 starts that he had in that series,
You were garbage.
You were horrible.
You were horrible.
So
Why are you
put
spiking
down
them?
the phone, bro?
Exactly.
It's like Lance. Remember Lance McCullers? He was after this Astros won the World Series. We took this team
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Bro, you were the one that gave up like 6 runs in 2 innings. Why are you the one talking? Shut up.
Yeah, Gallen let up 11 runs in game 1. He got teed off on.
And he's the one talking crap.
There you go.
I hate the D-backs from now on. So here's what we're going to do. Coming up next, Johnny, we're going to get into some of our other hates. Obviously, we hate the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders,
Let's
Mets.
take them off the board.
No, the teams out of
Irrational.
division that you have hates for. What made that hate happen? It could be a team. It could be a player. It could be a coach. Someone that you will hate
an incident.
from now until the day you are no longer on this beautiful planet. What makes you hate? Well, we want to hear your hates at 610-632-0975. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies dropped another one last night. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2 and only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run. But more mishaps in the field did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phillies continue their homestand tonight as the Arizona Diamondbacks come to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound for the Phils, facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. The offseason is flying around the NFL, and the next big date on the football calendar is the schedule release on May 14th. But Rob Motti from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should have circled on their calendars.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
We'll keep you updated with any updates on that front leading up until the owners vote on that in about 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by Dairy Queen. Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu featuring new mixing bowl mashups, s'mores, and more. Available now. DQ tastes happy at participating locations. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still hear all your...
Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. Next chance to win $1,000 coming your way at 8 o'clock. All right, let's get some good hates in here. We'll get our text messages soon at 610-632-0975. You know, this conversation is in my wheelhouse because I am really good at hate.
You have some irrational hates.
Yeah.
Like you have some crazy irrational.
There's reasons behind it, but it's random. Like you're when I say it, you're like, wait, why? Like my hate for Joe Madden.
Like Joe Madden is the strangest thing in the world. Have you ever gotten to interview him?
No. But I'd ask him right away why he felt the need to ruin the sport of baseball.
It is funny because I think you'd love.
Oh, I'm sure I would. And I know he's a local guy.
I think it was York. I mean, it's not like he's local.
That's the first place I ever tried Scrapple.
In York,
I was at a wedding. I was at a wedding in York, and my uncle was like, "Here, try this. Changed my life."
Really?
It was fresh too.
What,
Did they York, PA diner?
Did they not have it in? Did they not have it in Jersey?
No, I don't think my parents were trying to get me to try Scrapple.
Scrapple's delicious.
I know it is. I mean, it's not really good for
I don't know the last time I had it. I know that I
would say the doctors, considering your history, would advise against it.
Oh, now if Dr. Schoon Young's listening, he's saying, "Dude,
he's telling you eat Scrapple."
He's saying, "Don't be eating Scrapple with that." After that.
No,
but Market Street Grill does it up great, by the way, down in the borough.
Yeah.
So if you're
if
you're out there in Landview, do it.
So my hate for Joe Madden is because I hated that he tried changing the game of baseball and he went to the extreme.
I would think you would like innovators.
He was so overrated as a manager. I know he won the World Series with the Cubs. That's because they had 17 top prospects make it to their big league roster. And then remember, he was going to be the guy that got Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to the playoffs. That never happened. Whoa. What?
You're blaming him for Mike Trout?
No, I'm just saying
you're blaming him for Mike Trout getting a hangnail and being out for 6 months.
I'm saying he's an overrated manager.
Mike Trout swinging too hard and being out for 2 months. Please stop.
He's just an overrated manager.
I know he's from Jersey, but can we stop with the Mike Trout stuff? Mike Trout sneezed too hard. He's out for 6 weeks.
He's an overrated manager.
Yeah, guess what? Someone else is a little overrated too.
Well, Mike Trout's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean,
that's great. It's amazing. It's amazing.
He's hitting 179 this year, by the way.
It's strange when bodies break down really, really on young guys. It's really, really strange. It's almost like that's unnatural.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange.
Well, I've heard the theories.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories about why that might happen.
So our man Tristan checks in on Twitter, and he's got another team that I will forever hate that's not in the division of one of our hometown teams, and that's the San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
Because of the 2010 series. And
yes, I hated that whole bunch.
I like the Brian Wilson beard, the celebration after every save. Cody Bleepin Ross, 5'3", can't get on a date on a dating app because he's not 6 feet tall.
Dude, I hate that.
Yeah, like that team. Tim Lincecum, his stupid wind up. I hate Hunter Pence. Like
Matt Cain.
Matt Cain. Like I hated that team. No, Pence wasn't on that team yet. Sorry, he eventually got on that team.
Eventually got it.
I hate the San Francisco
Giants.
Giants.
Pence was only on the last championship team of them. Of their three, right?
Because at the time he was still in Houston.
Phil's traded him halfway through 2012 to the Giants.
Wow.
And they won, of course.
I despise that team, and
he won 2 there.
It's the first time I ever threw a remote. Was when Ryan Howard went down looking.
And you got in trouble when your dad came home from the business trip.
Well, my dad understood.
Really?
Yeah, my mom was upset. My dad pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, I get it. Just don't do it again." And he did not yell at me.
Did you have to pay for the remote?
No.
God, you were such a... you were so spoiled. You were so spoiled. I'm talking to Dad today. I am talking to Dad today about this.
Yeah.
You were raised soft.
16,
Comcast will get you for those remotes. Or Verizon, whoever you have.
Kincade Betty Kincade
the remote didn't break. I put a nick in the wall.
Oh, well, Betty would have kicked my ass.
Does the name Birdstone ring any bells to you guys?
No.
Because this is my irrational hate. Birdstone. Let's take a trip back to the year 2004. The Eagles are coming off their 3rd straight NFC Championship loss. The Flyers just get eliminated by the Tampa Bay Lightning, who go on to win it all.
Game 7 of the semifinals.
Yeah, exactly. Then Smarty Jones goes on for the Triple Crown and gets smacked by damn Birdstone, and I had a mental breakdown for the first time as a Philadelphia sports fan. I was like,
Horse racing?
Yes. Dude, I had enough. The Eagles just lost 3 in a row. The Flyers get trounced by Martin Tahan, St. Louis, and Vinny LeCavier, and then Birdstone comes and kicks Smarty Jones' ass in the Belmont. I have a mental breakdown. I sit in my closet for 3 hours saying I wish I was born in another city.
Really?
God,
all
over
over
a
a
horse?
horse.
Yeah. Now it's a glue stick.
Exactly. Now and then you went to art class the next week and put that together.
I still remember.
Okay, that you know what's funny is
That might be worse than me.
that's irrational.
Yeah, it's irrational.
That one's
The
irrational.
fact that you remember Birdstone 21 years later.
I was PO'd. Like, I was not happy with that.
I still remember. What's the second one? The Kentucky Derby? Is that the second race? I don't know. There's
Preakness.
Preakness is Belmont. Which one's the second
Kentucky
one?
Derby's first.
Preakness second.
So
Preakness
Preakness second. So
Belmont-
Smarty Jones.
Belmont third.
So Smarty Jones had already won the Kentucky Derby, right? I was at what the hell was that? The restaurant called attached to Citizens Bank Park that closed.
McFadden's?
I was at McFadden's before the Phillies game. My parents and I and my sister, we went to we got the meal before the game at McFadden's.
Okay. Was Eric Gregg bartending?
I don't know. But
God
I
rest
know
his soul.
But I know that
But not his strike zone.
the second race was about to happen, and nobody went to the game. Everybody sat. Like, the game had
Really?
started. Everybody
Waiting
wanted
for
to watch. Everybody
Really?
wanted to watch. And dude, when he won, the place went nuts because it was the second race, and now all of a sudden he's one win away from getting the Triple Crown.
Really?
Dude, I was amazed by how even my dad, who's a die-hard Phillies fan, works hard for his money. We bought these tickets. Let's go to the game. He said, "No, let's stay and watch the horse race."
Smarty Jones took over the area,
He
dude.
did. It was
he did.
amazing.
I got to tell you, that and the Delco Pooper. I mean, it's like when we get a story, this town, we sink our teeth into it.
Now, Johnny, who's your irrational hate and what stems from it? Because you are somebody that's a little less hatred, filled with hate like me.
It takes a lot more for me to get to that. Rondé Barber.
Oh, yeah.
And I have told Rondé Barber that I remember everything about that Tampa Bay championship, everything about it, that NFC
traded
title
for a
game,
coach. And
everything about that bothered me. That whole thing bothered me. I've had the discussion on air with John Gruden about it, and he told me that I should pay. He would actually pay for me to go see a counselor about that day because I told him, I said, it's the worst loss of my life. And the thing is, now I feel like it's been cleansed with the 2 Super Bowl parades. I feel like it's been cleansed. Like I've gotten past it because it was psychosis.
Right.
The closing down of the vet was psychosis. That loss, but that one, Joe Juravicius.
yeah.
Not only was he a Penn State, but that whole thing that just tore me apart.
He's a brethren.
That one just was one that just absolutely tore me apart.
He's a litho.
Leon Stickle.
Yep.
Now, how would you even know that one?
Well, my dad has told me stories.
Me and Leon
told me
Stickle,
stories.
for those who are too young, 1981, it is the spring. The Flyers are in the Stanley Cup Finals. It is Game 6 at Long Island, and it is not the game-winning goal. And a lot of youngsters don't know. They think it's the game-winning goal. No, it was an earlier goal in the game. There was a clearly offsides goal.
Yep.
It was missed. They didn't have replay. Leon Stickle missed the call. And because of that, it ends up the game went to overtime. It shouldn't have gone to overtime.
Right.
Flyers should have won a regulation, and then it would have been Game 7 back in Philadelphia, and I don't think that Flyers team loses.
Yeah.
I don't think they lose. You're talking about a team who had gone a 35-game unbeaten streak.
And that's a name that whenever you hear it,
Leon Stickle.
You cringe.
And he was hated from that point on. He blew a call in the biggest of games.
Yeah.
And so Bobby Nystrom's another one. He scored the game-winning goal in that game, and I hated it. I mean, I just hated him forever.
Now, I think mine is rational, but there are probably people listening right now that will say it is irrational.
Why is that?
But people, I think, are starting to finally catch on. My hatred for J.J. Redick.
No, that's absolutely rational.
The current J.J. Redick, not the Duke, because obviously everybody hated J.J. Redick when he was at Duke. But the current version of J.J. Redick, when he was with the Sixers, had a handshake agreement that he would get the big payday, and then he would take less to stay with the team that they were building to be championship contenders.
Well, remember, he wanted to be closer.
Yeah, he wanted to be closer to home in Brooklyn.
How do you ruin a guy that wants to be closer to his family?
Yeah, he wanted to be closer to his family in Brooklyn, so that's why he went to New Orleans.
And then he gets mad at them when he gets traded to Milwaukee.
Then he got mad at Dallas.
Dallas.
He got mad that he was traded. He thought that he deserved enough respect to pick where he wanted to go.
Which is,
I hate that.
Truly arrogant.
Then he does ESPN, and everybody loved him because he would talk back to Stephen A. Smith. Oh, yeah, he knows real ball. And then if you ever listen to his podcast, and I would every once in a while, he talked down to every NBA fan. He acted like he knew more than anybody ever in the sport of basketball. And you saw that happen this series against the Timberwolves. Not taking a single player out throughout the entire first half. All 5 starters
played. Which, by the way, had not happened since the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's as if he didn't know what to do as a coach.
And then he storms off during his press conference because he didn't like that he was asked if he was going to listen.
How dare you?
Yeah, because he was asked, are you going to listen to your veteran assistant coaches? This guy, I will forever feel a certain type of way because of what he did to the Sixers, and it's only gotten worse over the years. We want to hear from you.
I love that.
That's like the promo. 610-632-0975.
We got a lot to say.
Give us a couple of your hates and explain why. Also, back to the Jahad Campbell conversation, Johnny. I wonder if part of the strategy was financial.
Interesting on this one. And that's an interesting.
We'll get into it next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
It's crazy. They had so many picks to use, but instead of saying, hey, we're going to take
fanatic.
7:40 here on Kincade and Salciunas. I'm Andrew Salciunas with Zaddy Kincade over here.
Stop.
John learned a new term during the commercial break.
I did.
You should
I'm
feel great about that one, man. All right. Say, you should feel great about that one.
Okay.
You're Zaddy.
I asked you wow, I didn't
Wait till
realize
somebody
what that was.
wait till somebody calls you DILF.
Wow, that's great. That's I knew that term. I would have known that term.
Right.
Isn't that like the cliche of every college professor that on all the shows, like
No.
the college.
On the shows. I was going to say in my life, I don't know.
college professors that it's always like there's a student that's like attached to the college professor.
Sure.
There you go. Well, it's good to make an impact. It's good to make an impact.
You're doing great on the lives. All right, so give us a couple text messages, Gunner. I imagine we have some good hates that have since come in since our conversation. But I also need to tell you about why maybe the selection of Jihad Campbell is a financial one. Because the Eagles have a lot of money allocated to the offense. What do we got on the text line, Gunner?
Yeah, we got Marcus from New Hampshire checking in saying this is a new hate for me, but the guy I hate the most right now is Sean McDermott. Being a leader for the band of the Tush Pushes is something that I cannot forgive.
He'll forever be on the hate list. You're right. Because here's the deal. Even if he becomes the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles and hell freezes over and we get the first interview, right? As the non-flagship station.
Oh, yes.
Hell freezes over. I will straight up ask him, so what's the deal, bro? I wouldn't even be professional about it, I don't think.
I have no understanding.
His hypocrisy, again, hypocrisy saying we want this to be banned because of player safety, and yet you ran it the second most times and have since been on the record saying if it's not banned, you're going to continue to play it, run that play. How do you look Josh Allen and all 5 offensive linemen in the eye and call the tush push or whatever your play call is in the line of scrimmage or in the huddle, and after saying for an entire offseason you were worried about their safety?
Yeah, it is absolutely contradictory. Completely contradictory.
It's just ridiculous. And that's
It's bad.
great. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for reminding me of one of my newer hates. I appreciate that. Another local guy. How about that?
Oof.
Hey, I'll give you another one. Joe Judge.
Oh, Joe Judge is an easy one. But do you know what, though? Joe Judge he was never good. Joe Judge, I would say somebody failed upwards.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Like, I don't know how he ever did that.
And then he was so angry at the Eagles because they lost on purpose.
And then he was talking about integrity and all that kind of stuff.
Hell out of here.
And it's like, Joe Judge, he literally failed up the ladder.
Super Bowl champion Devontae Smith, Joe.
Yes.
All right, give us another text message.
Yeah, we got Johnny checking in saying, I hate Notre Dame football because I'm a big giant idiot. No, that's not what he said. He said, I hate Notre Dame football. They were always on TV when I was growing up, always overhyped. Then they had the nerve to be independent as if they were bigger than college football.
See, I get that. The hate for the big team. Like, I'm trying to... Obviously, we hate the Cowboys because they're in our division.
You can't stand Duke, though. Duke basketball,
correct,
right?
But I can imagine there's somebody that's a Chiefs fan that hates the Cowboys, right? Just because they're on Sunday Night Football all the time, Thanksgiving, right? Jerry, America's team. Like, I can imagine there's a team or a fan of a team that hates the Cowboys, even though they have really nothing to do with their division or even their conference. So I understand that one, even though that probably upsets you, Mr. Notre Dame.
Go Irish.
Yeah, Irish.
Go Irish. Like the Delco Pooper. I guarantee you she has a Notre Dame sweatshirt.
Yeah. No, she's
somewhere.
She's got the calf. She's got the calf tattoo. Absolutely.
Got somewhere.
All right. So could the Jihad Campbell draft pick be financial? And the reason why I asked this question is because I read a great article by Tim McManus, as always, on ESPN. It came out yesterday. I read it last night. So since 2022, we went through this last week. Or earlier this week, 12 of their 15 selections over the first 4 rounds have been defensive players, which is amazing. They haven't done that since 1967, which is wild, right? But here's the deal. On offense, the Philadelphia Eagles, we know, is where the majority of their money is. The money that they have on offense is 50% higher than the league average and represents 72% of their overall spending. So the league average offensively, how the money that's allocated, their total salary is 50% higher than the average.
Wow.
Now on defense, their total cash value on defense is just $75 million. And that's including the Zach Bond contract. 40% less than the league average.
Well, it all has to balance out.
Right, exactly. So maybe saying, hey, we understand that this guy's got some injury history, but if he can become the player we think he can become when healthy, and we have him for 5 years, as Brendan mentioned earlier, how much did that fifth-year option come into play? Maybe you can let him ease his way in his rookie season. You still have 4 years after that.
Gunn, you came up with that on your own? Because that's
did.
pretty
He's very
impressive.
smart.
Okay, that's because that is honestly, that's something I wasn't. I mean, we always think of the fifth-year option.
Right.
But I wasn't thinking about it from that angle. That's
but you
pretty
get him,
good
you
stuff.
have him for cheap, and again, your defense has to be cheap. You've said it. At some point, the pendulum will swing. At some point, the money's going to have to go to the defense, and you're going to have to be cheaper on offense. But until that pendulum swings, which might not be for another 2 seasons, you need to continue to get these young defensive players. So maybe instead of getting another offensive tackle with your first-round selection, you drafted a defensive edge rusher / linebacker, so that you can continue to be very inexpensive on defense. It may have been a financial decision, too.
Then it was
all these draft picks. There's your second-round pick, your fourth-round pick.
If you made a financial decision, it's only smart if the player's health works out. If the player's health doesn't work out, it still ends up being a horrible decision at that point.
Because it could set you back.
It will set you back. It will set you back in a major way. Hopefully that's not going to be the case.
Meanwhile, isn't it amazing that their total cash value in 2025 is just $75 million when you paid Bryce Huff,
right,
and you paid Zach Bond, but everyone else,
Bryce Huff,
is so cheap. At least one of them hit for you.
Okay, right now, gut instinct. A year from now, are we saying, wow, they got something out of Bryce Huff that we never expected them to get? Or are we saying
3 sacks would be something I wouldn't expect to get out of Bryce Huff.
No, right now. Are we saying next year a conversation like, man, Bryce Huff actually ended up working out?
I'll say this.
Or are we saying Bryce Huff continued to be a disaster?
He's going to be better than 2024, but he's not going to be worth the contract.
Well, Bryce Huff, anything's better than 2024.
Well, right.
I mean, Bryce Huff was nothing in 2024.
I think he'll be better than 2024,
Well,
but he's ultimately not going to be worth the contract.
Like, can they just get him on the field in straight up pass rushing situations and
they weren't
tell
even
him to get
dressing
after it?
Right, they
weren't
didn't
even
dress him in the
dressing
Super Bowl.
I mean, you got to give me something more than he's going to be better than 2024.
Well, no, like to Gunner's point, like he's going to become a guy where it's third. Like Jordan Davis was your first round draft
So you do
pick.
believe he's going to be a guy that's going to be used situationally,
Yeah.
but he's going to be in games. And
Whereas you brought him in originally to be a 3-down lineman, and then Vic Fangio quickly found out that that's not the case, but then he never really became anything. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Like Jordan Davis was your 13th overall pick, who you traded up for, and you really only play him on rundowns.
Okay.
Bryce Huff, you paid over $50 million for over the course of 3 years. He might end up being just on passing downs.
Yeah.
And that might be his role in the team. 30% of the snaps over the course of a game. It's a lot of money.
It's a ton of cash.
All right, coming up next, we'll reset today's topics. We'll get some more of your hates on the text line. Also, your next chance to win $1,000 comes your way at 8 o'clock here on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies dropped one last night. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2, and they only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run as well, but more mishaps in the field did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phils continue that homestand tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are coming to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound for the Phillies, facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. The offseason is flying around the NFL, and the next big date on the football calendar is the schedule release on May 14th. But Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should have circled on their calendars.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
We'll keep you updated with any news on that front leading up to that vote at the owners' meetings in 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by Hand and Stone. This Mother's Day, skip the pretty candles and give her something pretty amazing. Rest and renewal at Hand and Stone, a soothing massage, a refreshing facial, so no more mom gifts. Visit Hand and Stone today, handandstone.com today, I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
97.5 The Fanatic and live.
The 31-year-old is the most mature one of the show.
Is that true?
I don't know. You guys are all children scaring Haley, and right before you guys scared her, she goes, "I'm gonna go out there and scare Brendan." I'm dead serious.
Really?
You guys are children.
and then I scared her.
And then I got her.
And then you got
And
her.
then you got her. By the way,
Wow.
major news in the gaming community. GTA 6 officially postponed again. May 26, 2026 is their release date. They were hoping for the fall.
They actually have
that's-
a release date, though?
They have the date, May 26, 2026. But originally, it was supposed to come out this fall before the holiday season.
Okay, can I tell you that when my daughter was playing Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah, you were probably appalled.
and she said, "Dad, you want to play?"
Was this 5? GTA 5? You remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
You can't tell me.
I would imagine it's 5.
She was probably a ninth grader.
Yeah, I
10th
imagine
10th,
it's- yeah,
ninth or 10th grader. So it was 2019, 2018, 2019. And I was appalled.
Yeah.
But I never let on. I just tried to play, and I was terrible at it.
I was not allowed to play that game when I was a kid.
I was not allowed to play
I was terrible
either.
at it, and I was terrible at it, but I didn't let on at all, and I have never once voiced a word about it.
Yeah.
Or I always said is that I used the Betty Kincade rule, which was she always believed save the bullet in the holster for the stuff that really, really matters.
Right.
And then when you deliver that message, it matters,
Yeah.
and it counts. So I didn't say a word, but I was like, oh my god,
No, it's
appalling.
it is not for kids.
It was appalling.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't even play the game. They just go out there to be going on a rampage.
Yeah, exactly.
It was appalling.
It is not a game for children.
But I mean, hey,
It's just disappointing that we now have to wait a full year plus for it to come out. So what's funny is you mentioned your daughter with the game. So I got it during COVID. I was never a GTA. Again, my parents didn't let me, and then
okay.
I love sports games, so like I don't really play that kind of stuff, right? And so during COVID, I was like, all right, I need something to do, so let me play GTA. Everyone talks about it. And so one day, Christy watches me playing it, right? And she had probably the same reaction as you.
Like, she's sort of appalled.
She's
by
like,
it.
oh, God, like, why are you going to the strip club? You got to do that. Like, what is this?
and the hookers and
So
the pimp and the,
next morning, I wake up.
was she playing?
She's not in bed. I go, where's she at? I walk downstairs and
She's playing it?
She's locked in. And I was like, that's the sexiest thing that you've ever done.
Really?
And she played the whole thing. She loved it. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
It is. It's a great game. It's just not for kids.
No,
Like, it's-
the definition of not for kids.
So sorry to be the narc, but if you're like 8-year-old goes, Mom, Dad, can I have GTA 5 or 6 or any of them, and you just don't know, just know it's not for
It's not
the-
Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's not for the little kids.
Oh no,
man.
she's played that. She played that too.
Yeah, this one.
She played the. And what's the one with all the zombies? Where you're going and you're killing all the zombies.
Well, Call
Well,
of
is
Duty
it-
has zombie mode.
Is
Oh,
it
it
zombie
does?
mode?
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
is it the one where you're in like the mall and you're killing zombies?
For The
That's-
Last of Us?
Yeah, something like
The
that.
Last of Us, and it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Okay, it's The Last of Us.
All right.
So there you go.
Okay, you're hip. You know, you're a
I'm
zaddy,
not.
bro.
No. I am a zaddy. Now that I found that out. So that is a good thing
Yes.
That is a good thing for a student to put on a review. Does that mean that other
Hey, you must
students?
have given good grades.
Does that mean that other students will go? Yeah, that's worth
Damn, Zaddy.
zaddy.
Hey, you might get students that don't even take journalism next
That's could
semester.
be.
All right, you're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. It's been a fun Friday so far. Our main
It
topic
has been.
in terms of the serious sports talk. Our main topic, are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first round pick? We'll play you the clip from Adam Schefter from earlier this week when he joined us here in a moment. But before we do that, let's try to win some money.
The Fanatic signing bonus.
All right, text the word feet.
Why
Not
would they
the-
give you that
Those
word?
are some really nice feet.
See, this is where you guys are children. It's not feet like feetfinders.com. It's feet, F-E-A-T. Text the word feet.
Oh, it's
Sorry, Rex Ryan.
F-E-A-T.
Sorry, Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan.
He would have texted that word 100 times.
Rex Ryan has texted it already this morning to random people.
You have until 8:25 to text the word feet, F-E-A-T, to 45911, or you can enter it on the mobile app or 975thefanatic.com. One random entry wins $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Each winner gets a call from Beasley, so be sure to answer your phone. Contest rules at 975thefanatic.com. It's all presented to us by our friends at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Voted best casino in PA by Casino Player Magazine. Your next chance to win will be at 10 o'clock with the Mike Missanelli
Those are
show.
some really nice feet.
That was one of the most wildest moments.
It's just unbelievable.
The fact that multiple
It's just
multiple
unbelievable.
videos.
It's just
for Rex.
unbelievable.
That was on Hard Knocks, too, wasn't it? When
I don't
that whole
remember
thing
if
went
it was
down?
on Hard Knocks.
I think it was the Hard Knocks year.
Yeah, I think it was.
The officer pulling over the role playing.
At least it wasn't the Brett Favre body part.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Oh, God. Anyways, all right, so Adam Schefter joined us earlier in the week, and he talked about why Jihad Campbell fell to the Eagles at 31. Take a listen.
Well, he's recovering from surgery on one shoulder. There are teams that believe he's going to need surgery on his other shoulder after the season, and there are teams that believe that he has a knee issue over time, degenerative. Now, again, doesn't mean it is, doesn't mean it will happen. He is a great player. He's a top 10 talent. But when a top 10 talent falls to pick number 31, there are reasons. And if we're going to look for the reasons, it's his left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, and it's the condition of his knee. And we'll see over time how valid those medical concerns are or aren't.
All right, I'm curious, are people still texting in on that? Because I know, look, you are in a spot right now where whatever the Eagles do, you got to go, hey, if they believe in it, then I believe in it. Not blind faith, but you will give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt. 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 3 seasons. They win just 2 months ago, 2+ months ago. I get it. You should have a lot of confidence that the Eagles made the right decision here. But I'm just curious, at 610-632-0975, are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick? You know, we see the tweet from Albert Breer where he says the Eagles kind of have the luxury. They don't need it to hit. Well, that's a crazy thing to say because all 32 teams need their first-round pick to hit, or it could set you back. So what are the people saying on that on the text line, Gunner?
Yeah, ironically, we got somebody checking in by the name of T in Chichester saying, I wasn't concerned until that Schefter cut. All I can think about when I hear degenerative knees is Todd Gurley, who was one of the best and then out of the league completely at 26.
I saw a wild stat from Todd Gurley. I got to try to find it. That he is like still...
Oh, I saw it. Top 3 rushing since 2015.
Yeah, here you go. Todd Gurley, you ready for this, Johnny? I saw this yesterday on Twitter. Todd Gurley is still third in the league in rushing touchdowns since 2015. He has not played since 2020.
Okay, that's crazy. That's
wild.
That's crazy. Todd was a tremendous.
Amazing
Obviously,
talent.
saw his college career up close and personal, and he gone from the game too soon.
And he hates the Rams. Did you see him leading up to the Eagles Rams game?
No.
Wearing the Hurts jersey, going all out for the Eagles. He hates the Rams.
Really?
No, he does. He really does.
Yeah, he only played 6 seasons, man. That's sad.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, look, sorry to maybe scare people when we play that clip from Schefter, but again, when they select him on Friday morning last week, 1 week ago, we're celebrating because of the talent. And then as the days go on, because let's face it, majority of the talk surrounding the NFL draft, not here, but nationally, was Shedeur Sanders, right? So once the Shedeur Sanders storyline kind of dies off, that's when people start doing, all right, what are the other big stories from the NFL draft?
Right.
And Jihad Campbell falling to 31 and going to the defending Super Bowl champions. You saw the tweets. When they selected him, all the people were like, oh, my God, how did Howie does it again.
They did it again.
They got another top talent. And then people started doing some digging and doing some research. And then you hear Shefty go, yeah, he has 2 bad knees and 2 bad shoulders.
Correct.
And so that's why he fell to 31. And that's why you start going, we're not saying was it a bad selection. Just are you concerned that they took a risk with their first-round pick? You can text it at 610-632-0975. Also, as we welcome the Diamondbacks in town, Give us some of your hates in sports. They don't have to be current. It could be, Johnny was talking about, Leon Stickle, right? Like,
yes, it's something from like.
But still, like anytime you hear that name, you feel a certain type of way.
I know this from working for the Flyers organization. Mr. Snyder, God rest his soul, he carried that like a sword in his pocket.
I'm sure he did.
When the man was in the building, it used to bother Mr. Snyder. Like it was when he would come back years later, it bothered him.
I don't blame him.
Oh my gosh!
All right, what do we got on the text line on that one, Gunner? It's 610-632-0975.
Yeah, somebody's checking in saying they hated Dominic Hasek because he wore a regular player's helmet instead of the goalie mask, and he looked like a D-bag.
He's probably your neighbor in Delco. That's a Delco text. He looked like a D-bag.
Yes.
That's irrational, though. That is irrational right there.
Could be.
Oh, it's not D-bag in Delco. It's
it's
like
not.
D-bag, right?
D-bag.
Yo, D-head.
It's just a Tuesday.
You guys are the best.
It's just a Tuesday.
All right. Well, coming up next, Mr. Delco.
She's gonna be the 4th of July. What section of town is it?
Prospect Park.
Prospect Park. She will be the 4th of July riding
the
in the
float?
back of the. She'll be in the back of the convertible.
She'll be powering it up.
Some business.
She don't even need an engine.
Some business will have her in a convertible.
So, Mr. Delco, Brendan Gunn.
Whoa! I'm Delco by birth.
Yeah, I know, but there's some.
Shut your mouth, Johnny.
Yeah, there's sometimes. What's amazing with you is that sometimes it comes out of you. And I got a moment.
Boom.
I got a moment.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, the boom earlier
Alec
this
Boom.
week. He had one yesterday with Haley that I started cracking up. So Brendan's going to do today's headlines coming up next. We got a couple of good stories for you, including the update on Poopgate in Delco. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Philadelphia Union Soccer.
Roseman here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. We got today's headlines with Mr. Delco himself, Brendan Gunn, coming up momentarily. So yesterday, Johnny, because you guys are children, the three of you, Brendan, John, and Haley, you guys scaring each other, doing pranks and whatnot, which is great. I'm glad you guys have a great working relationship.
We do enjoy each other's company.
Haley got Brendan good yesterday.
Okay.
And Brendan immediately goes with the, yo, you better chill. And dude, like the Delco that oozed out of you when you dropped the you gotta chill. Like, because it was like an angry you gotta chill.
I don't like being scared.
It's just amazing.
You know what's funny is that Brendan is one of those guys that is I consider him a very chill person.
Yes.
But Brendan is also one of those people that I would have, if I was growing up in his age group and everything, I would have been like, don't screw with Brendan. I would have looked at him as
knuckle sandwich.
I would have just gone, he's a guy who is very chill.
Yeah.
But don't screw around.
I definitely have a switch I'll flip.
You got a mean streak.
You'll see later on.
Oh yeah, when
I shank one.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're golfing later.
Yes,
today,
we're gonna have
man.
fun today. No, I've seen you on the golf course. You're very chill on the golf course.
You guys get to meet. Well, you've kind of met Papa Salciunas.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited.
You met him at the airport.
Yeah,
and he was picking me up after the New Orleans trip.
I'm going to meet your
dad, your adopted dad.
Well, I am an orphan now.
That's right.
Which, by the way, people were like, I've heard me say it, like, you're not an orphan. I always get an email every time saying, you are an orphan when your parents are dead.
Is that how it works?
Yes. When your parents die.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that? Yes, it is. You are technically an orphan. So I said, look, I'm looking for adopted parents. So if somebody wants to, do that, so you have kindly offered. I don't know. I don't think your dad's old enough to be my dad, but he's like Doc's age. But
How about this?
But I'm willing to get in on somebody's 401k or in a will.
You're right. Orphan is a child deprived by death of one or usually both parents, no matter what the age.
You become an orphan child the minute your parents are dead. So, and I feel blessed to have had my mom till 91.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's great.
So now you're my adopted brother. How's
there
that?
It is. I love that.
Brother.
It works out. Stepbrother's more like it.
All right, time now for today's headlines with Brendan Gunn.
Today's headlines with the one and only Brendan Gunn.
What do we got?
Yes, the one and only. Well, we got the sponsor brought to us by the one and only Lundy Law. For over 70 years, Lundy Law has been fighting for injured people. If you need them, remember the name. Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Visit LundyLaw.com. That's LundyLaw.com. I was going to start with the Delco pooper. We'll push that a little bit back.
Save the best for last.
Why don't you hold it for a second?
Well, Audible, we were just talking about dads, and maybe the best dad in all of sports. LeBron James. He's talking about if he wants to continue playing or not.
Here we go.
I sent this to Gunner. I didn't want to tell you about it, so go ahead.
The best dad in all of sports. He said maybe he has one more year, but Shams threw out maybe he wants to play for a couple more years for this reason.
Does the Bryce James, his son, does that factor play into it at all? His son is going to be potentially draft eligible in 2026 next year. So if he feels at some point next year Bryce James might be an NBA player, might be a draft eligible player, does he extend that window?
Can you imagine now, LeBron to Bryce alley-oop, and then they call a timeout, and Bronny gets to get them some fresh water, off the bench?
Is Shams going to carry the water for this crap, much like Brian Windhorst does? Is he going to carry the water for this crap?
Wendy and LeBron aren't friends, remember?
No, but I'm saying, no.
Remember LeBron? LeBron cussed him out.
Called him a weirdo.
Well, I think because of the
weirdo.
I'm just saying are they going to carry this and just, I'm going to portray another guy who shouldn't be drafted?
Bryce James is actually going to be a decent player.
But
he's the better prospect.
He's the top market recruit.
He is.
Going to Arizona.
He is, but he's not necessarily a draft prospect.
No, he will be. It's like the
back end of the second round is what I've read.
It's like the Lonzo LaMelo Liangelo.
Right.
There's a reason why one of them is getting the whip whoa or whatever the hell you say.
Yeah, but I've heard back.
But
I've heard back end of the second round, like type of prospect right now projected. Again, seriously, LeBron cannot stand anyone else having the attention. LeBron, it's the NBA playoffs. And teams that actually achieved, who, by the way, their teams didn't go get like one of the greatest players on earth to come play with them as their Robin or Batman. They're actually playing. Stop trying to steal the spotlight from them. We'll talk about you during the summer.
Well, I mean, he could just force his way to Australia or I'll end up on LeBron's team.
Let me ask you, is it still with the Lakers? Does he try to have the family tree or does he go elsewhere? because you already pulled the crap with Bronny. The
I
Lakers
think he might
can't
go
do
elsewhere, right? Like, I can't see the Lakers going for it again.
I can't believe that to be the case. You're right. All right, what's next?
All right, well, we got the tush push vote coming on in a couple of weeks. Well, it turns out there's going to be a jury members voting on the Delco tush push. Coming up, we have an update on the Delco pooper. Shout out to Chris O'Donnell from Fox News. He got this video.
He's all over Fox 29. He's all over this story.
Hopefully it's not all over his car.
Yes.
Here's the update on it.
Can you tell us what happened?
The lady chased me. She chased me and I asked her not to attack me.
She chased you?
I have a sickness.
You said she chased you?
Yeah, she chased me. And I got out and begged her to stop.
Better to do. Listen to her side of the story.
Listen to her side of the story.
She sounds like
You've got nothing better to do.
She sounds like half the moms that I knew growing up in Broomall.
Now, first and foremost,
you've got nothing better to do?
she says she has a sickness. If this is something,
what's the sickness?
If this is something mental, I hope she gets help. All right, first and foremost. But this is insane. She was chasing me, so I pooped on her car.
Get some Pepto-Bismol. Yeah, you got
I mean,
sickness.
seriously.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what sickness she's talking about.
The McDonald's breakfast. That's what she's got.
Like,
I mean, seriously.
That was, and it's national. It's become a national.
Oh no, it was on national news last night.
But I need to know, get her side of the story.
What is her side of the story?
What is something that could ever justify that?
Nothing.
I mean, come on now.
Nothing.
There's nothing that could justify that part.
You can't give me.
She did it. It's just the fact that David Muir
had to do a news.
And then we're talking. Vladimir Zelensky has signed a minerals deal with this, and then
next,
and then the Delco pooper. Yeah. It's like come on. It's unbelievable.
It's just nasty. It's a shame.
Unbelievable.
Can we just get a good story out of Delco one time?
No,
just once.
No, we can't.
Now I asked you guys before the show started. You immediately go to the car wash if you're the other car, right?
Yeah, I'm calling out at work.
Yeah.
No, I guarantee she hosed.
Do you buy a new car?
No, you hose.
Are you no? Because every time you get in the driver's seat of that car and you look out,
and it was in the grill.
See the hood.
It was in the grill a little bit too. It's in the crevices.
No, you hosed that. Which crevices? Oh, the car's crevice.
It came out of one crevice and went into the other.
Start blasting that AC.
I mean, seriously. I know. I mean, you have to have. It's like the Seinfeld episode. You know, the car. You leave the keys.
Wait till
in the car.
humidity hits. And
no,
then
what
you
I'm
get
just
the whiff
saying
of
is,
that.
I love the other woman. Wait till you hear her side of the story.
Yeah, what side?
What is the side of the story? You've got nothing better to do than to sit here with your cameras.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Now,
does she have nothing better to do than to poop on a car? Come on. What are we doing here? All right, that's today's headline.
Unreal.
Good job, Gunner.
She's going to be down at the Bazaar of All Nations signing books today.
All right, coming up next. Johnny, you texted me about a conversation between Mike and Bill in the air yesterday. I missed
Which, by the way, Mike and Bill's conversations, you never know where they're going.
No.
By the way, there are various off-ramps they could take.
Absolutely. This one was about Nick Serriani. And I missed this, so I'm curious to hear more about it. But apparently the city isn't totally in love with the head coach. Or everybody, at least. We'll get into this coming up next. I need to hear the story that you heard. Or the discussion that you heard. Next, it's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phillies dropped one last night. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies lost the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2, and he only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run. But mishaps in the field did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phils continue their homestand tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks. When they come to town for a weekend series, Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound for the Phils, and he'll be facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitches tonight at 6:45. The offseason is flying around the NFL, and the next big date on the football calendar is the schedule release coming up on May 14th. But Rob Motti from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should have circled on their calendars.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
Any news on that front, we'll keep you updated right here on The Fanatic leading up to the owners' vote in about about 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about a fun Mother's Day gift? Get low prices every day on unique finds before they're gone. Find a location near you at Macy'sBackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Man, I am in a good mood today, man. Nothing can bring me down. I shouldn't say that.
That's going to be so much fun.
Because there's somebody probably sitting outside going, I'll make it happen.
So much niceness going on. Can't wait.
Beautiful.
I think there's something, though, and people can get to it, too. I think there's something therapeutic about when you have a hobby, like when you have a hobby or something that you really like playing golf. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I wouldn't consider that a hobby of mine, so good
You
luck.
don't think golf's a hobby? For you? Oh,
I
because you don't.
used to like it.
Right.
It's not that I don't like it. I just have not gone out and played in a while.
Well, also, you have a very young child.
Yeah,
and I
kinda
promise
takes
you
away
that
from it a
will,
little bit.
as your child ages, more opportunity will come for you to be able to play golf.
I think I played once last year.
Well,
and
the
it's
thing
with
is,
Brendan and Connor.
as your child ages, you will have more opportunity.
All right, so now that he's 3, I'll play twice this year.
Exactly.
Last year I played
exponential.
once. This year I'll play twice.
You can play more than that.
All right, so yesterday you were listening to the Mike Missanelli show, as everyone should.
Love it.
And you heard them having a conversation about Nick Sirianni. Can you please explain what was being discussed?
Well, it was again the discussion of just there are various stuff. There, the off-season columns being written and articles being written about Nick Sirianni.
Okay.
And it was along the lines of the idea that Nick Sirianni and how quickly people are, and this community has been, to potentially not warm up to Nick Sirianni. That Nick Sirianni...
and you're talking about Philly, not
that Philadelphia as a
nationally.
whole. But even nationally, we already know nationally.
Yeah, that
And
people don't
Steve-
like him.
Steve Weiss led us behind the curtain, and even one of the pregame shows of the Super Bowl led it behind the curtain that his peers in the NFL aren't big fans.
Right.
So I wonder is Nick Sirianni not being popular? And Mike and Bill had a really sort of thoughtful discussion about it. Like Mike's incredulous a little bit about it, going, the guy just won us a Super Bowl. Like at what point, what do you need him to do for you people to warm up to him?
I'm gonna say the same thing about Darius Slay, but
And
people didn't.
what do you need him to do? And then it was the discussion of, and they got into the discussion where, and Mike was leading it to the idea that, look, I think we all can agree that Super Bowl was won with defense.
Yeah.
Right? The offense was spectacular.
They were.
And they had spectacular moments. But the defense won that
It was
Super Bowl.
40-6 at one point.
The defense was spectacular.
Yeah.
So, but I wondered, hearing their conversation and spinning off of it, is Nick Sirianni not being warmed up? And there are a lot of the population that hasn't warmed to him. Is that a Sirianni issue or a fan base issue? Because part of me, and Mike Missanelli has a great knack for doing this, where I think I know what I'm thinking, and then Mike can sort of make me go, huh, maybe. Yeah, that's probably what made him a great writer and a great talk show host. Is that I'm like, okay, I sort of agree with Mike, but like he won you a Super Bowl. You should.
Right.
Why don't you do that? But the idea of Nick Sirianni has brought a lot of it on himself. So at what point is the slate wiped clean?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm of the belief, and I am one of those people, but I'm a fool. And I've said this before. I am a terrible judge of character. I get fooled by people all the time. But I am truly a believer, hearing their conversation yesterday. I don't want to hear anybody doubting Nick Sirianni. Like, to me, I think Nick Sirianni should have a freaking clean slate, should have his contract extension, and should have a boatload of respect for what he's accomplished. And I don't think it should be like, well, I still need to see him do this. Because he's already done more than any of his predecessors, and that includes Andy Reid, who is on a shelf that I worship as the greatest coach I've ever rooted for. So I think even for me, it's time for, to be like, okay, there's a complete clean slate with Nick Sirianni. He's been freaking legendary.
Yeah, look, Sirianni has brought a lot of things upon himself, absolutely. But at this point, if you were to say, is it more Sirianni or is it more fan base? It's more fan base.
So you do think it's more fan base?
And look, it's not everyone, right? It's not everyone. But there are people who like to, dig their feet in the mud of a stance that they had, and they don't want to end up being wrong, right? So there were people that wanted Nick Sirianni fired, like hand raised. I was a guy that when I saw that collapse unfold, I've always used the analogy of like a business office. If your company is failing for 2 months and then your boss goes, all right, what are you going to do to fix it? And your response is, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. And that's the playoff game against the Bucks. And then they lose. That's a fireable offense in the business world, right? Good for the Eagles. They kept him. He wins the Super Bowl. I celebrate that. I'm not somebody that, because I had one opinion, I'm going to stick to that opinion. I'm going to keep on going with that opinion. You know that the second Jalen Hurts throws an interception this year, there will be people in this fan base that have doubted Jalen Hurts that will say, see, I told you, Saquon Barkley's not carrying the team this year. And so there are people that have an opinion about Nick Sirianni and will try to stick to that opinion. There's also the stuff that he brought upon himself, as you know, and people won't forget that.
The thing is, though, is that, to me, like mature adults do. Like the whole thing about, I was one of the loudest critics of him bringing the daycare center to the post-game press conference. I was one of his most vocal critics. But I absolutely, too, am now one of the most vocal people to say, okay, now it's time for me and anyone else who is critical like that of it to shut up about it. He remedied the situation. Mm-hmm. He showed he had the emotional maturity to right the ship, correct his behaviors, do a great job. So I was extremely valid in the critique that I had, but I'm also have to be mature enough myself to say he's now fixed it. And he's done a damn good job. And by the way, he outcoached Andy Reid in every way, shape, and form. So did Vic Fangio.
Right, and I wonder, there are probably people, and I think this is more of the national, not necessarily the Philadelphia fan, but I'm sure there are some people in this fan base that still hold into the what do you do around here. Because let's face it, there are people that don't think about culture first. They think about, is your offense good? Is your defense good? Oh, the offense was good last year? Who was calling the plays? It was Kellen Moore. Was the defense good last year? Who's running the defense and running the defense, right? Like Vic Fangio runs the defense. And Nick Sirianni's name is not the name that gets mentioned on either side of the ball. And so there are probably people more so nationally that look at Nick Sirianni and go, yeah, he won the Super Bowl, but my God, did he have a lot of help to do it? And then this year, we'll see how the Patullo thing plays out. If Kevin Patullo is a disaster, that heat that has been sent toward Nick Sirianni before will probably be turned back up again.
And that's very valid.
Because it's his guy.
And he would be repeating a past mistake.
Correct.
But in my mind, I would also have to be I look at life as Can I share that text message a little bit? The text message the other night conversation we had. Andrew thought he sent me a text message the other night.
Sure.
He sent me a text message the other night, and he was worried about the tone of it.
Yeah, I called him afterward. I said, I hope you don't realize.
And I laughed.
Look, Brendan, we're millennial texters, right? There are people
that can't pick up.
That can't. Like my wife, I'm not going to call her out, but my wife sometimes will read a text that I sent, and because I didn't add an exclamation point, it's he's upset. And it's like, no, I was just doing something.
And I'm literally married to a Colombian Jamaican woman. You know, I there is no such thing as tone in my house. You know, I mean, I might be ducking a plate at any time. Right, she doesn't throw stuff. But I mean, he said, and he literally picked up the phone to call me, and my wife was cackling, laughing as I'm having the conversation with him about it. I'm like, no, I didn't read into any tone because I read it as perfectly fine. Things don't affect me like that. I don't get affected by that. The thing is, though, you think of Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni knows how to have set the perfect tone.
Absolutely.
That is a skill set.
That's something.
And the thing is, you have that with people. I try to always have a good rapport with people and good energy like that. Mm-hmm. Like Nick Sirianni does that impeccably well with guys who tend to be a lot of times can be divas.
Absolutely.
And also a multitude of different kinds of personalities. We're talking about 10 times as many people as we deal with on a daily basis. I consider that skill set almost primary as a head coach.
Yeah, but people don't think of that. You do.
I know they don't.
People
I
don't.
do.
They see offense, is it good? defense isn't good.
Well, just look at J.J. Redick. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and maybe he can draw up plays, but he doesn't know how to deal with players.
Exactly. And that is a legitimate issue for people.
And so to me,
Chip Kelly.
I want
prime example.
Look, I'm just going to say it this way. And hold me accountable to this, much like if I eat the beautiful cinnamon bun thing from Wendy's.
Yes.
And I want you to call me a fat ass if I do it, because I don't want to be one. If I start harping on old stuff with Nick Serriani that he doesn't repeat, I want you to call me on it because he doesn't deserve it. He deserves a clean slate from now on, and he deserves the respect of a Super Bowl champion and a guy who's done more as an Eagles coach than anyone before him.
Now, speaking of coaches, and we'll make sure that happens. We'll smack you upside the head anytime.
Just like I wrote down the date when Mr. Softy.
Yeah.
April 9th, by the way.
NFC Championship.
I have it. April Softy.
That's Softy.
By the way,
NFC
I actually have it in my computer.
It's unbelievable. Coming up next, speaking of this conversation, speaking of coaches, I was thinking about this after you texted me this morning. We're in a really weird time right now with coaches in this city.
Okay.
And I'll explain more coming up next. It's Kincade Salciunas here on 97.5 The Fanatic. We want to hear from you. So text us at 610-632. Sports 97.5, The Fanatic. A couple things before we get into this coach conversation. I didn't realize it. We talked about Mike Trout earlier today. I didn't know.
What, did he get hurt again this morning eating a breakfast bar?
He's heading to the IL. I'm not joking, dude.
The Pop-Tart this morning, he reached for it too quickly. And he strained a muscle.
So if you the other day, 2 days ago, he tried legging out a ground ball, and as he stretched for first base, he came up limp, and then he left the game, but they said he'll be back in the lineup the next day, which he was. And then Ron Washington, the manager of the Angels, last night after the game told reporters he's going to the injured list. This was at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern, so that's why we missed it. But yeah, hurt again, Mike Trout.
That's unbelievable.
Also, you told me during the break, I just saw the tweet from Mike Missanelli. Jason Worth
is on the show today at noon.
He'll be on the show at noon. His horse Dornoch will be in the Derby tomorrow. He was tremendous in Clearwater. He was the special guest with Philly Sports Trips. And
you said he was really, really fun.
He was awesome. He was awesome with every person that he took a photo with and the stories that he told and the questions that he answered. Really, really an amazing person. Remember, I asked him about the pause between Game 5 of the World Series. He got sick because of how bad the weather was. He ended up catching a virus, and he was sick for the resumption of the game.
Wait a minute. You don't catch a virus because
it brings down your immune system, and then you get it somewhere else, right?
There you go.
You're in a building with 45,000 people. It's in the air somewhere.
I'm sure something's in the air.
But yeah, I mean, he got sick, which that's a story that I never heard until this past spring or during spring training. All right, so we're in a really weird spot right now with our coaches in this city.
Okay.
So you just told me about the conversation the Mike Missanelli show had yesterday.
Right.
That still in the city there are people that they hesitate to
they're not
love
Bill.
Sirianni.
They're not dressed like the high school cheerleader waiting outside in the parking lot for Coach Serriani.
That's a good point. We are talking about one guy that's on the very, very, very extreme in his love for Nick Sirianni.
To blow him a kiss, hoping to get asked to the dance.
But there are people that feel a certain type of way about Nick. Absolutely. Name me the coach in this city that people have love for. There really isn't, dude.
No, not right now. There isn't.
Yeah, we're in a weird and kind of have been. Let's go through the Eagles, right? There's been a weird relationship with Nick. People love Doug, but it obviously ended quickly. The Phillies, I mean, Rob Thompson, I think, is liked. But I don't think people love Rob Thompson.
No.
Girardi was a mess. Pete McCannon was just a nice guy.
Now you see, though,
Gabe Kapler we hated.
If Rob Thompson wins it all, he's going to be looked at like a Charlie Manuel.
Right.
The same kind of...
Rob Thompson will be a hero forever if he wins.
The Sixers have brought in their last two coaches were hot commodities. And I can't totally blame Nick Nurse for this season, obviously, because everybody was hurt. It was a mess. But people quickly fell out of love with Nick Nurse, the idea of Nick Nurse, and obviously Doc Rivers was never really loved in this city. And then Torts, who did more than you could have asked for, was hated by people in this city.
But he wasn't, though. He was hated by the pearl-clutching members of the local media.
Oh, no, and there were Flyers fans that didn't like him.
No, there were, but the pearl-clutching members of the local media were the ones who pushed the narrative of that were pushing that.
Yeah, and there's people that read into it and buy into it.
Torts is this. Torts was not hated by the majority of his players.
Of his players, yeah, but I'm talking about fans.
The majority of his own locker room didn't hate him.
Right.
But the guys in the locker room who cover the team, who some of them are a little, well, let's just say not as, don't have the fortitude to, he's not nice.
But isn't it a weird time right now where and look, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, have been to 2 in the last 3 seasons. The Phillies have been to the NLCS and World Series in 2 of the last 3 seasons. The Sixers should be good.
They should be.
Flyers are rebuilding, different story. But again, the rebuild, they did more than you could have expected. Is there a coach in this city right now that the fan base is behind? I really don't think so.
I don't think so either. And by the way, which one deserves it?
Sirianni deserves it.
No, other than Nick. I'm talking about I thought we were talking about other than Nick.
No, but even still, there are still people that feel a certain type of way about Sirianni.
And that is just...
I can't even say Rob Thompson doesn't deserve it. Think back to the 10 years where we sucked. And this guy has brought us back.
Okay.
Did he bring him back, or did the talent of this team bring him back?
You cannot.
At the same point, then.
I'm telling you right now, if Pete Mackanin had this talent, Pete Mackanin would have done every single thing that Rob Thompson did.
There's no way. There's no way.
Yes, there is a way.
Pete Mackanin was not a good manager.
Nobody's clamored for Pete
Rob,
and at the same
you think
fortitude,
Rob Thompson is a good manager?
Yes.
In-game manager?
He's good. He's not great.
No, he's not a good strategist. He is not a good strategist. He's had, I mean, oh my gosh.
If we're going to talk about the players getting all the credit, then you can't hate Rob Thompson for coming up short because the players pooped themselves back-to-back October.
No, what I'm going to tell you is that I don't like I think he has his laissez-faire attitude is one that is not serving this club well right now. I don't think it works.
It has worked in the past, but it's not right now,
yes,
to your point.
I think that's one of those things that back in the day, there was a time when, it was needed after a manager who was a real jerk, a guy who really wasn't connecting. But right now, that right now it doesn't work. He's been given the keys. You can't compare what other coaches had to deal with. What other coaches had to deal with being the Phillies manager and what he has. He
has the best roster.
He has one of the best rosters. He's had a top 3. He's averaged a top 4 payroll.
Yeah, he's gotten to a World Series. He's gotten to an NLCS, and he's gotten to 95 wins.
Okay.
That doesn't happen with the guy being a complete dunce.
Did he underachieve or overachieve last year? Underachieved.
Yes, because it's postseason.
He underachieved last year. That is an underachievement.
Yeah, but we've talked about this. You're not
then why are we freaking out about April baseball?
Since June.
Why are we freaking out nothing matters until October then?
Since the June date, the second week of June last year, this team's a 500 baseball team.
But nothing matters until October.
No, but I mean, but I'm taking you for, we're coming on a calendar year coming on. We're 11 months now where he has a team with all of this talent, all of this money spent on it, and he has a team that's playing a little over 500.
How come when I bring that up, I get crushed?
They're playing not for me, you don't. They're playing 506
ball. Up 2 weeks ago.
No, and I don't rip you. Not for me.
That's right. Connor was here still.
Yes.
You can't say that.
No, you can't say that.
If the bones of a team are the bones of a team, that's what it is.
You can't say that.
All right. Coming up next, we'll reset today's topics. We'll get back to some of our hates in sports because here's the deal, Johnny. Unfortunately, we're watching the NBA playoffs without the Sixers. The NBA playoffs are filled with hates right now. Some that were just eliminated.
Well, thank God we got done at least that one.
Some that are still in it. There's a lot of hates in the NBA playoffs right now, which, come to think of it, might make it less enjoyable for a lot of people. It's Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phillies failed to sweep the Nationals. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taiwan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2, and they only allowed 1 earned run, and the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run, but mishaps in the field ultimately did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phils continue that homestand tonight against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who come to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound tonight for the Phils, and he's going to be facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45, but before that, Jason Worth, 2008 World Series winner for the Phils, is going to be joining the Mike Missanelli show. That's coming up at noon. The offseason is flying around the NFL, and the next big date on the football calendar is May 14th, which is the schedule release. But Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should keep an eye on.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
We'll keep you updated on any news surrounding the tush push and that owners meeting coming up in 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by Sequoia Outback. Stop in for their annual Spring into Sequoia sale going on now. Route 309 in Hatfield or decksupplies.com. Experience the ultimate in outdoor living at Sequoia Outback. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Truist Championship, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
very much randomness that happens during the course of a show. Sometimes, like what you're researching, just again, you type in something, and we talked about Pete Mackanin. So I was just curious. I was like, what was the life of Pete Mackanin like before he became the Phillies manager, right? Do you know that in 1989, he was the manager of the Águilas del Zulia squad in the 1989 Caribbean Series, and they won.
I did not know that.
So he was the manager of the Caribbean Series baseball team out of Venezuela won.
You know who Pete Mackanin was? His career?
Who?
Pete Mackanin was Rob Thompson. Pete Mackanin was Brian
it's the guy that's on the bench.
Brian Snitker.
Yeah.
Pete Mackanin was one of those guys. That's what he was. He was a baseball lifer. He's one of those guys who got his opportunity. And I absolutely believe that Pete Mackanin as a baseball strategist was better than Rob Thompson. I don't know that he was better at the things that I do believe Rob Thompson is great at. Rob Thompson is not the alarmist. Mm-hmm. The guy making people feel very comfortable when things get rocky. I think Rob Thompson is great at steering the ship and everything. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things Rob Thompson does well.
Absolutely.
Strategist? No.
By the way, his catcher on the 1989 Caribbean Series championship team, Joe Girardi.
Really? There you go.
It's amazing how
this
world works. All right, so we've been talking about the Eagles' selection of Jahad Campbell. Now that we've had a week to sort of digest this and get more information, we've heard more and more about the health concerns surrounding Jahad Campbell, and that could be the reason why he fell to 31. We had Shefty on earlier the week, and he talked about how both shoulders are dinged up. One, he just had the surgery on. One that some teams are expecting him to get a surgery on after his rookie season. And degenerative knees came up with Shefty as well.
Both knees.
Yeah, knees, plural, which is concerning. And so we asked the question today to start the show at 610-632-0975. Are you concerned at all that the Eagles took a risk with their first-round pick, right? Because we know that they need to continue to replenish this defense, not just with all the players they lost, but with all the money that's allocated toward the offense. I gave you the note from the Tim McManus article from yesterday that 72% of the Eagles' spending is on offense, which is 50% higher than the league average. And meanwhile, there's $75 million total that is being allocated toward the defense this year is 40% less than the league average. So all the money's on the offense. They need to replenish the defense. And so you drafted a defensive player in the first round, a top 10 talent. The problem is there's injury concern. Now, I'll give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt that they did their due diligence.
Can you say that there's more than injury concern?
Injury risk. I'll say.
When a guy is expected to have, when a guy is expected to have surgery on his other shoulder next summer, that he's this is tough.
Like when I hear that, I don't even think injury. I think being forced to stop playing football when you hear those kind of issues.
Like I think this is much more alarming than is being let on.
It could be.
Like when you're talking about a guy who has shoulder surgery right now, and then you're talking about a guy who he's had shoulder surgery, so that's why he's nursing right now. Then he's expected to have shoulder surgery again next offseason on the other shoulder. And he's suspected to have a degenerative condition in both knees. That's a hell of a lot more than saying he is a injury risk. That is a walking medical malady. That's scary.
It is scary. And they took him with the first round pick.
Like that's really scary to me.
But then there's people that go, look, the Eagles, Brendan, you brought it up earlier. The training staff, I'm sure the team doctors, everyone that's involved in this selection, are the same people that have kept the Eagles relatively healthy, the healthiest team in the last 3 years.
It has been. Sure, that is part of it, that they do that. I'm not sure medical staff keeps you healthy. I don't believe that's a thing.
Right, but they're evaluating the health of a player. They might say, hey, and this guy should not play this week because of this.
Oh, no, that very well.
Right?
No, they get credit for that. I don't believe that, like, the medical staff, though. I think a lot of it is good fortune. like whether you're
Could
healthy
be.
or whether you're not.
But like when they talk to the medical staff about Jahad Campbell, they probably go, "Hey,
we don't.
How much
think
should
it's
we be
as-
concerned about
We
this?"
don't think it's as bad as someone else might think.
Right.
Yeah. So
And
they get
the
credit
team-
for that.
I'll give the team doctors the benefit of the doubt for that as well. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be a little concerned. Let's get a couple text messages in. You're listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, BZ Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. And we also have the hate discussion because the Diamondbacks are in town. There will be a forever hate for me from now until the day I am no longer on this earth. The NBA playoffs are filled with hate for a lot of you. Maybe not all of you, maybe not even myself, but for a lot of you in different areas. But we'll get to that in a second. What do we got on the text line?
Yeah, we got Eric checking in saying, I'm not even an Eagles fan, but every pick is a risk. The healthiest guy can get hit wrong, and then he's out for his career.
Yeah,
I think at that time in the draft, it's the time to take a risk.
That's football. That goes without saying that anybody could get hit at any time. Like, I get that. But again, it's first round. That's gold.
Yeah,
This wasn't a fourth round, fifth round flyer. This is your 30. You traded up one spot for it.
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you that at 9:02, I'm more concerned than I was at 6:02.
I'm sorry to do that to you. It's a strategy of mine
but
before going to the golf course.
No, but I think the conversation that we've had today actually leads me to be more concerned than less concerned. And look, it's just an interesting online. It's the conversation we're having, but it's.
Sorry, I
what
did
it
that
is.
to you.
No, I mean it's.
Might
it's
be doing
what
that
it
to other
is.
people.
It could be.
Give us more text messages. Anybody nervous out there, or is everyone still confident?
Everybody's so confident on this. Another one kind of echoing the same sentiment. To be honest, injury or not, all draft picks are risky. Some pan out, some don't. Like that's the way a lot of these fans are looking at it today.
Yeah, look, some pan out, some don't. If we're talking about whether or not the player's good or not. If we're talking about injury risk, again, first round pick, it's a little bit different. That is a very relaxed response, which is fine. Eagles won the Super Bowl. They're a very good football team, and they've been hitting their draft picks out of the park over the last 5 years. So I get it.
Yeah, we got another one. Kaleem in Northeast Philly. I'm good with taking a risk in the first round at 31. If the draft pick does end up being a bust, I don't think it's a bad one because in 4 years we'll be able to get another one.
Man.
Wow. I don't know.
Why are we talking about 4 years? What about like next year or the year after that? Like you got to replenish. You just lost. Let's see. Your starting edge rusher, your bulk of the snaps defensive tackle, your starting and his backup cornerback, your starting safety, your backup linebacker. That's a lot of pieces that you lost, and now you just have to. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
It's a lot. It's a lot that they've lost.
All right, in the NBA, the hates. Do you realize how much hate is going on right now for most fans in Philadelphia? So the Knicks are still in the playoffs. They advanced, beating the Pistons yesterday. They beat the Pistons, who had Tobias, so I know there was a lot of hate watching toward Tobias. The Lakers get eliminated. I know there was a lot of Laker, LeBron, and JJ hate. The Celtics could repeat for all we know. That's always
could happen.
Painful. I was talking to somebody the other day that is rooting for Steph to lose because he's tired of Steph.
Well, I'm tired of I'm tired of Steph whining. I'm tired of Steph's coach whining.
What is Steph whining about?
You haven't been to follow the series? How he's whining because people are hitting his hand.
Yeah, because he's
people
injured.
Are hitting his hand.
He's got an injured thumb.
Because
he thinks they're targeting it.
People are targeting his injured hand. Yo, Steph, ask your dad. Ask every player who's ever played in the NBA. That happens in every series, every year, every time in the NBA. Stop the freaking whining. What? You don't you're not. Come on.
You don't even have to do the dad thing. Just look at his teammate.
Come on.
Who kicks guys in the nuts?
Seriously.
Whenever he wants.
Like, are you seriously going to whine about that and act like that doesn't happen in the NBA and hasn't happened forever in the NBA? Like, come on. Like, that's and Steve Kerr coming out. Well, it was nice. This time it wasn't a political lecture. So at least I was there for it. You know, Steve Kerr lecturing me on something. This has to be stopped.
Yeah, they want the play eliminated.
This has to be stopped.
High five.
This has been happening forever. The high five. They've been talking about that since the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
What is he talking about?
There's Nuggets hate because obviously the Jokic and Embiid stuff. And then the other team that the Nuggets are playing, the Clippers, people hate James Harden in this city. I don't. I like James Harden a lot.
See, I don't think hating James Harden. I think there's hating James Harden because there's a lot of people who still. James Harden's a highlight film to watch.
Absolutely.
I will watch James Harden.
Yeah, but people didn't want him to come here in the first place.
Well,
there's people that don't like James Harden.
Well, I will tell me that for James Harden, I think James Harden's an unprofessional guy. I think James Harden is a unprofessional professional.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be going to the strip clubs in the middle of a playoff series.
Or going to Vegas in the middle of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Before the Knicks series or whatever.
Yeah,
before Celtics series or whatever it is. I think he's an unprofessional guy. Oh, I want out of this town. Well, I'm going to, just fatten myself up. I think he's an unprofessional dude. I'll never respect that.
It's amazing. The teams that are remaining, the only team that I think I don't know. Is there a team that you're rooting for? Because
no. I'll root for. I could root for Cleveland. I could root for Cleveland.
Okay.
I could root for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, here's the thing: if the Thunder win, then the whole process discussion, then you realize that it worked for them and it didn't work for the Sixers.
Yeah, the teams that did it right. Yeah,
the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is a great player, but it's not like he's
Rudy Gobert ruined sports.
Rudy Gobert ruined sports.
And the longer Anthony Edwards is in it, he's going to be distracted. Father's Day is coming up.
Well, that's the thing that people don't like about Anthony Edwards. And so there's not for Philadelphia fans, there's not many rooting interests in the NBA playoffs right now. If anything, it's filled with hate.
Sean Kemp needs to sit him down for a talk. Seriously.
All right, coming up next. We'll get back to our text messages at some point. But you know what? You and I talked about this before the show started, and I had an idea to get into it, and I completely forgot. So thank you for reminding me.
Let's do it.
There's a superstar in Philadelphia that's struggling right now. Struggling.
Let's give him a standing ovation and make him feel good.
We're not going to do that.
Good.
The thing is, people are afraid to even talk about it or call it out. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mike Missanelli.
And the halo effect with Howie Roseman's draft get in the way of the...
12 here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, we have a struggling superstar in the city of Philadelphia right now, and his name's Bryce Harper. So let's get the warm and fuzzy stuff out of the way. Bryce Harper is going to be fine. But that does not mean we shouldn't still point out when he's struggling. Unfortunately,
we hope he's going to be fine.
I think he will be.
No, we hope he's going to be fine, but he doesn't look right.
He doesn't. But I expect him to turn his season around.
No, we do. We absolutely do.
That's why I'll say it. I expect him to turn his season around. But for some reason, there are times where if you say something critically about Bryce Harper, people get their backs up against the wall. Like, prime example was last year when this show first started. And, Bryce Harper tries to leg out a double on a base hit up the middle and gets thrown out. And we rip him for it. And it's, come on, man. He always does aggressive things. And then the next game, he'll hit a grounder in the infield that's bobbled by the infielder. But because he was jogging down the first baseline, he doesn't beat it out. And then when we point that out, people go, come on, he doesn't have to out-hustle everything. All right, so you're cool with him overly hustling into outs, but you're also okay with him not really running it down the first base.
Yeah, you don't like, right? Look, if you don't play, here's the one thing I don't like. The only thing, how about this? The only thing I don't like about Bryce Harper's game. The only thing. He doesn't play the game the right way. He does not play the game the right way because he doesn't play it smart. He runs into stupid outs.
Right.
And you can say all the time. He does it a lot.
He does
it a lot.
He does do it a lot.
And then what does that send the message to the rest of his team? Do it too.
Yeah, go to third with 2 outs.
That was
runs.
Yeah, Johan Rojas.
Johan Rojas. That was stupid.
Headed
but
decision.
the thing is that people will harp on Rojas. Harp on it. And Rojas gets there. The majority of the time with Rojas on his bad base running, gets there and gets it done. Like scores the run the other night, gets to third last night. Most of the time, he doesn't get thrown out.
It could still be stupid, though.
No. I pointed it out on social media. And I'm a Rojas defender. I pointed it out. Stupid. But the thing is, most of the time, Rojas gets there and makes it count. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, Harper gets out. Harper gets thrown out. The hustle doesn't pay off. And to me, it's a bad message. I don't think Bryce Harper plays the game the right way a lot of time. So to me, it's shocking because he is really he's such a tremendous player to watch, and I'm so thrilled that he came here. But it doesn't the fact that I'm worried that he's showing age. Because
I don't know if
because he started young. Remember, started young.
I don't know.
And what is he? Is he 13 years in Major League Baseball now?
He's been in it for a while, yeah.
2012, he made his debut.
Yeah, so
he's 13 or 14. This is 14 years.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So, to me, 14 years, whether you start at 18 or whether you start at 20, you don't get
right.
You get a certain amount of years.
Catches up, I get it.
And so
he's got a violent swing.
I'm worried that, his swing has never been technically sound. It's never been a technically sound
swing.
It's never been a swing that they would tell you that they would never take you into a batting cage and say, kids, replicate this. This is the way you want to swing. And I just worry about it. I just wonder about it.
So here's the thing.
Is he going to age quickly?
I wonder why we can't point out like if I point out that Bryce Harper in the last 9 games is 5 for his last 40. So he's batting 147. Or sorry, 5 for his last 40 plate appearances. And 0 home runs, just 2 ribbies, right? 9 strikeouts. For whatever reason, people get upset if you bring that up. And I don't know why we can't do that. Why can't we call out? And I've heard Mike talk about this. There are certain stars in this city, all time, right? Not just right now, that kind of can walk on water and they will never get criticized by people. I think he says they got a halo over their head or something.
Well, the halo, yeah.
Yeah. And
Mike said he has horns.
I heard that.
He brought that up. I thought that was a good line.
But right now, Bryce Harper's been playing bad baseball. Like, just point it out.
Yeah, he's been
like,
playing
he's been playing
terrible
bad baseball. If you're batting 147 over a stretch of 9 games, you're playing bad baseball. And I'm not concerned, like overly concerned, but it is something to go, all right, why is this team struggling, or why does this team not necessarily look right? This is one of the reasons. And it should be pointed out. People shouldn't be afraid to talk about.
No, because what happens is the fanboys and girls put down their pom-poms, get on their typewriters, start sending you their letters, start mailing them to you, and it's like, oh, you're attacking my favorite player. It's like, come on, it's okay. Your favorite player's not perfect. Your favorite player, in fact, does a lot of things wrong at times, and it's okay. Bryce Harper's been freaking brilliant. Like you always talk about Bedlam at the bank.
Yeah.
That moment in and of itself is one of the greatest. Like the Rhys Hoskins bat slam is always going to be, that bat spike is always going to be one of the greatest moments of my Phillies fandom. But don't forget, too, Bryce Harper then, like slamming his home runs against the Braves. And
well, that's why people get so angry when you talk about the regular season. Because even though the Phillies bowed out last year, you know who showed up? Bryce Harper did. He showed up in pretty much every big moment besides Game 6 and 7, which nobody did.
And then, then here's one here too. And then Neil joins in the conversation here on social media and says, "And isn't it Harper who got doubled off in the Braves game when we had a chance to win a second game in that series in 2022, and he got stupidly doubled off?"
That I don't necessarily blame that on Harper. That looked like a hit.
Yeah, but you can't get doubled off at the end.
He should not have been rounding second.
He should not have been rounding second. You can't do that.
You on that play.
Like he says he cost us that game.
You stand on second.
A playoff game.
You stand on second.
Correct.
If the catch is made, you're back to first. If the catch is not made, you're scoring from second base.
And where that was hit, yeah.
And to me, he's always got that Harry Hard on. I'm gonna extra hustle and make the highlight.
But that's what we love here, John.
No,
that's what the city loves.
No, I like the smart play because you know what? I love Bryce Harper's play. I don't like the stupid play.
Like Bryce Harper going over the banister in the opening series last year. Like people love that.
No, I didn't. When he came back from injury,
yeah.
He came back from injury.
I'm not saying I liked it. I think it was dumb.
I think it was stupid. Like I think that's so. You're saying like fans love it? No, there are a lot of fans I think that are probably like me that don't love it.
But the majority love they love it. That's just a fact.
And that's why if you point out his struggles, sometimes people get very upset.
Oh my!
How dare you point out the struggles?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, come on now. It is one. It deserves to be pointed out. Yeah. But again, we all are in agreement. We all believe that that'll be
turning around. He'll turn around.
A moot point.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
There we go.
But point it out. Don't be afraid to point it out.
There we go.
All right, coming up next, we'll get our text messages back up. But also, you guys know how much I feel about mediocre quarterbacks getting paid big money. I think it's a major problem in the NFL. I read an article this morning, Johnny, that estimates how much Brock Purdy's going to get and then how much money Jaden Daniels could eventually get. Wow, is all I'll say. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Phils failed to sweep. I'm Brendan Gunn with your Fanatic Sports Update. The Phillies dropped the final game of their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals last night by a score of 4-2. Taijuan Walker got the start. He went 5 2/3 innings. He struck out 2, and he only allowed 1 earned run. And the team as a whole only allowed 1 earned run, but some mistakes in the field ultimately did the team in, including an error from Bryce Harper. The Phillies continue their homestand tonight as the Arizona Diamondbacks come to town for a weekend series. Jesus Luzardo is going to be on the mound for the Phils. He'll be facing off against Arizona's Merrill Kelly. First pitch is tonight at 6:45. But before that, coming up at noon, Jason Worth, former 2008 World Series champion for the Fightin' Phils, is going to join the Mike Missanelli show, so you don't want to miss that coming up at noon. The offseason is flying by around the NFL, and the next big date on the football calendar is May 14th, the schedule release. But Rob Motti from the Associated Press joined the afternoon show yesterday and said there's another date approaching that Eagles fans should keep their eyes on.
It's big news for Eagles fans. It's going to be in 3 weeks, and that's when the owners get together at the spring meetings in Minneapolis, and I think the future of the tush push is going to be decided.
We'll keep you updated on any news on that front leading up to the owner's vote in about 3 weeks. This update was brought to you by Family and Company Jewelers. Get the perfect gift for mom in your life. Browse the huge selection of gifts at every price point. Route 70 in Marlton or at FamilyJewelers.com, South Jersey's diamond destination. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers and the Truist Championship. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ricky Vitalico.
Howie is just...
Evan here on Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Championship Friday morning. Been a fun day today. Talking about the Eagles, obviously on the concerning front of drafting a player with some injury risks surrounding him and Jahad Campbell. We've been talking about our good hates as well as the Phillies welcome the Diamondbacks into town. I have future money to quarterbacks that I want to get to you guys here momentarily. But what are some of the text messages that we're getting so far this morning, Gunner?
Mike in Turnersville checking in saying with Serriani, a lot of the issues are on him. He needs to stop yelling at the fans, telling officials how he knows the rules, not allowing another team to come into his own building and punk him like the 49ers did, and most importantly, stop having his kids at the press conferences. Next year, if Kevin Patullo works out, that'll be a check in his column. So far, it was just a check in Howie's column with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio.
Yeah, the yelling at fans thing was one of the worst moments for him this year. Like that crash out day. We're using the term crash out a lot today. That crash out day with the Browns was a rough day for Nick Serriani. He had the shaved head.
It was a terrible day.
He's yelling at the fans. He brings the kids to the podium. He's like over the top with his answers, and he's bringing his kids into the answers. His kids almost looked uncomfortable, right? Like it was a weird day. And then it just flipped. Now, obviously, part of it was probably because he was called into the principal's office, as you say, Johnny. But good for him for listening. It's just you can't have a moment like that again. You can't. Like that was bad.
You can't.
Regardless of how the rest I don't care. Like they won the Super Bowl, right? I could still say that was a bad moment in the life
of Nick Sirianni. No, it is. And it was the whole week seemed like a mental break.
Yeah, it was
the shaving of the head, the coming off the bye, the coming off the bye week, and my players want me to be more like myself. And then that whole meltdown and bringing the kids to the post-game press conference, it was stupid.
Yeah.
It's a stupid week. But again, he overcame it. And in my mind, Will Smith just shot the red beam at me. I don't remember any of it anymore.
He didn't smack you in the face?
He won it all.
Keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
Exactly.
I still can't believe that happened.
Yes.
All right. Brock Purdy.
Very staged. Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Dude, he's been like banned from Hollywood.
Yeah, Chris Rock still hates him to this day.
Yeah, dude. I don't think so. I thought at first, but I don't think so, dude. Until Chris Rock and Will Smith do the
Bloods and the Crips dapping up handshake.
Yeah. No, who was it? Isaiah and Magic? Who was the sit down?
It was. Yeah,
it was Isaiah and Magic.
Crying a little
until
bit.
They start crying a little bit. I don't know if it was staged, Johnny. All right, Brock Purdy. We're on Brock Purdy payday watch.
Okay.
Even though I don't think they should, but whatever. That's my opinion.
What do they do if they don't?
I'm Kyle Shanahan. I'm offensive genius. I'll find another quarterback. I made this last overall pick potentially get $50 million. I'll try to find somebody else.
So at this point, you do that? Like at this point in the...
You let him play? He's still under contract, under his rookie deal.
No, I got you. But I mean, you feel good about it? Okay.
I would. Okay. I don't think he's that great.
No, I don't either.
And let's see this year without all the talent that he's had around him, right?
Okay.
And I know somebody can
make
the same
every quarterback
case.
who's...
Right. You say the same thing about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, has quarterback talent around them.
So... on Fox, they interviewed like some guy that like follows the cap and everything and the trajectory of money, right? It's from the NFL Management Council, whatever. They spoke with somebody that knows more about what we do when it comes to the financial aspects of the NFL and where it's going. And so this guy, Halsell, I don't know his first name, J.I. Halsell.
Okay.
Believes that Brock Purdy will eventually get paid if they do pay him. And he will be a top 10 paid quarterback in the NFL. Right now.
A top 10 paid quarterback?
Right now, Dak's number one at 60.
Wow.
Followed by Burrow, Allen, Love, and Trevor Lawrence, each getting $55 million. Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, unbelievable. Tua's at number 6, unbelievable, at $53 million. Jared Goff at 53, Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar at 52, and Jalen Hurts is 10th. Think about that. They got ahead of that contract early. Even though $51 million is a lot of money, he's still just the 10th highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Could the Purdy contract be like a fork in the road for the NFL teams? Like if the 49ers pay him, it's going to continue going status quo. If they say, hell with that, we're not paying a guy we don't think is elite, we're not paying him elite money, do other teams start thinking that way too?
Maybe.
That could be.
Look at what the Seahawks have done with now Sam Darnold, before that Geno Smith. Even though Sam Darnold's getting paid, what, 40, 45 did he get? He got a lot
I think
of money,
he got but was 3 years?
Yeah, but he's not getting the $55 million per year contract, which is what they project Brock Purdy to get. $55 million per, which would put him ahead of Hurts, ahead of Lamar Jackson, ahead of Justin Herbert, ahead of Jared Goff, ahead of Tua Tagovailoa, and tied with Burrow, Allen, Love, and Trevor Lawrence, which is insane. Now, if you think that's
the money is insane.
If you think that's insane. So this guy studies all this stuff.
Okay.
And how the money is increasing. So this year, the salary cap increased increased $23.8 million. It went up 8.5%. He is projecting the cap to continue to rise, as we can expect, especially with the international play and all that kind of stuff. He believes that Jaden Daniels could potentially become a $90 million a year quarterback.
What?
Dak's at 60.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, let me think about this.
This is 4 years from now.
Okay, 4 years from now, the way the TV contract's going, and they're going to add an 18th game before then.
And if he continues to play the way, like let's face it, NFC Championship game, rookie season.
Okay, but $90
million.
Okay, then again, the only thing I would say about it is the idea is that you're talking about last year. We were saying these things about, we were talking about Jordan Love this way. We were talking about C.J. Stroud.
I
this
agree,
way.
absolutely, yes.
And I do believe that we will see a regression this year from Jaden Daniels.
Well, Jaden Daniels also comes up with that contract at the perfect time, where 2029 is the new TV bargaining rights and all that.
And we saw Jaden Daniels. By the way, we did see Jaden Daniels' team. The over/under's 9.5. Now that seems like candy from a baby, right? 9.5.
I think they take a step back.
They won. What did they win? 11 this year?
Yeah, something like that.
They won 11.
Yeah.
Or did they win 11 or did they win 12? They won 11. They won 11, right?
My prediction was that the Eagles would win comfortably.
No, the Commanders.
Which was by 2 games.
No, the Commanders won 11 last year.
I think that's what it was.
So, and now they're predicted to win 9.5. Doesn't that seem odd?
Oh, they won 12 games last year.
They won 12.
But the Eagles won 14, so they did.
I know.
They won the division by 2 games.
I got you. But they're predicted to win.
Yeah.
The 9.5's their number.
I told you.
But the thing is,
they
everyone's
lost 18.
Well, they're not playing that last place schedule or whatnot.
I understand. Everyone's going to look at that and they'll go, Jaden Daniels, 9.5 wins, over. And it's like, look, there's going to be a little wake-up call.
But could you imagine that if he does continue? Let's just say he plays still at a high level, right?
Sure.
$90 million.
No, I could believe it. I could absolutely believe it.
Now the cap would increase too.
Yeah,
so
the cap's
it's not.
the cap's gonna. Well, with the 18th game, when that comes in, it is coming. The 18th game's coming.
The funniest part to me is still that Jalen Hurts is only like a year and some change older than him.
Right.
That is
amazing, isn't it?
With all that he's done.
And the fact that
going
he's
into year 6.
Already down to 10th in terms of highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And he's done more than all of those guys in terms of Super Bowls. Right? Dak, Burrow, Allen, Love, Lawrence, Tua, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. In terms of Super Bowl, he's done more than all those guys. Unbelievable. All right, coming up next, we'll have our key 3, but also let's preview the upcoming Phillies D-back series from an actual baseball standpoint, not just our hatred for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but we will get more text messages as well. It is Kincade and Salciunas on this Championship Friday here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Connor Thomas.
It's crazy. They had so many picks to use, but instead of saying...
Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Phillies beginning a 3-game series with the D-backs today. I hate you, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Can't stand them.
Luzardo on the bump tonight, going up against that Merrill Kelly, who thinks Citizens Bank Park is not a raucous atmosphere.
We love you, Jesus.
Game 2, Aaron Nola versus Brandon Pfaadt. Can Aaron Nola put together back-to-back very good outings? Because his last outing was very good. He went 7 innings?
He's amazing.
Didn't get the win, but, it was a much better outing last outing. And then finally, Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty for the D-backs, goes up against Ranger Suarez, who makes his 2025 debut, which I'm very excited to see how his arm looks, if they play. Because Saturday, Sunday, not supposed to be pretty weather-wise, right?
No. Could be really bad. Sunday could be terrible.
And Sunday's game is at 2:05.
Sunday, what time's Saturday's game?
6:05. Starts Saturday night, right?
It's a shame they didn't have it be like 4:05.
4 o'clock.
Because Saturday night, the bad stuff comes in, and Sunday could be terrible.
Yeah, it's going into Sunday, right?
And Arizona, they're going to end up having to come back.
Probably.
Yeah, because it's Sunday looks terrible.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they will play Sunday.
Yeah, they probably won't, which is disappointing.
All right, I want to figure out. I got a couple vacation days to play with, and I have a plan.
That's nice.
I want to go to Canton, Ohio.
That's cool.
And you were suggesting it was like 4 hours. I was thinking, it's got to be
like
more
7,
than that.
8, right? Yeah.
It's 6 from my house.
Okay,
6 hours. It says 6 hours and 2 minutes. They've never seen me drive. I can easily.
Be careful.
What?
That Ohio PA, the PA Ohio Turnpike.
Well, PA Turnpike, it's this week.
No, but they have the. I got nabbed. They have
what?
they have the helicopters.
Oh, the helicopters
or the planes that track your speed. So
wait a minute.
Oh, dude.
Wait a minute. I understand.
So the PA to Ohio Turnpike.
And a helicopter catches
you? There's planes. If you stop at the rest stop, they
can't the helicopter comes and gets you?
No,
I don't understand.
They get your speed with the speed gun from the sky, and then a cop pulls you over.
Okay, that can't be accurate.
So they have a whole thing on it when you go to the rest stop. I got pulled over going to South Bend to go watch the Owls play Notre Dame. And from the PA to Ohio Turnpike, there's an area where it drops. The speed limit drops 20 miles per hour. So you're driving 70 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, but there's a middle area where it drops to 50. And so they grab people who don't know that. And so I got nabbed. I got pulled over. Later that year, Trey Thomas, who was working at the station at the time, went to Brian Dawkins' Hall of Fame induction.
Same thing?
I hear him call into Mark Farzetta saying I got pulled over. And I text him right away. I know exactly where you got pulled over. And I literally texted it to him. He goes, "Yep, how'd you know?"
Wait a minute.
Because it just happened to me.
So like they have the cops waiting, and the helicopter tells you, pull over
Grab
the red
this
car?
black Honda Civic,
Really?
whoa. Yeah.
Okay, that's wild.
So anyways, drive slowly. Yeah.
Okay, so 6 hours. They're opening a new at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is opening a Super Bowl exhibit that opens today, and it will run until next year. They're opening a Super Bowl exhibit that will honor the Eagles.
That's awesome.
And it will feature kiosks of artifacts from all 5 of the Eagles championship teams.
Well, of course you can't ignore history.
So all 5 of the championship teams are being honored.
It's like the Temple guys arguing they have a national championship because they won the NIT when the NIT was the better thing.
The exhibit opens May 2nd, today.
So I'm sure there's 2 hallways.
And
one with the Lombardi trophies, one with the championship trophies.
And one's going to have a line and one's nobody's going to care about.
And it runs until next year. And so you've got to go. You got to go. I want to go now.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think I'm going to want to book a hotel because I don't think I want to drive 12 hours in one day. So I think I'll stay. I'll drive, stay over one night, and then drive back.
Yeah, and book do your research because when my buddy and I were driving back from South Bend, we were like, we'll just find a hotel on the way back at some point.
Well, you know what I want to do?
We had to pull over at one of the trucker stop hotels, and it was nasty.
Well, I want to stay at. You know what I want to do though is I've always wanted to go to the memorial site of the plane that crashed on 9/11.
Oh wow, okay.
that is along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and that may be along that stretch. So I'm going to check that out because that's something I've wanted to see. So I'll check that out and see if that's on that. So just for Eagles fans to know, all 5 of those championships being celebrated at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, just 2 different hallways.
They're not celebrating. No, they're all together.
The one's near the bathrooms.
They're all together in one room, and the artifacts are there. And Nick Serriani and Jalen Hurts did special things that are part of it. I guess they narrated part of it, and so you can check it on out.
Yeah, Grandpops, turn your hearing aids up. You can go back to the pre-1960s.
Oh, man, you can't do that.
Blow the dust off them.
That's unbelievable. That's complete disrespect.
That's totally disrespectful.
That is
See, I don't even go to
disrespect.
that level. I just say that one's a championship and one's a Super Bowl, and
That is
the Super Bowl era is
unbelievable.
different. That's all.
It's just crazy.
But that's cool. That's one. I've been to Cooperstown.
I would like to do that. And I've refused to go to Cooperstown.
Why?
Because Pete Rose isn't in. The greatest baseball player that
Wait, so you won't go to Cooperstown?
No.
All right, because I will tell you right now, it was one of the best experiences of my life.
I understand it. They have literally let in some of the biggest degenerates, some of the biggest dirtbags that have ever been in.
I understand.
No.
But you're boycotting something for
I'm-
somebody that doesn't know you exist. Unless you guys talked before. I don't know if you and Pete were
I did.
buddies.
I interviewed him multiple times, and I also did one time, sadly, Olivia stumbled on him in the mall in Caesars. He was sitting at a table.
Autograph signing?
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody was at the table, and we were in the mall at Caesars, and it was that, like, curiosity store. Have you ever seen it? Like, Michael Jackson went into it once and bought, like, the store out.
Oh, really?
And Pete Rose was there signing,
Yeah.
and Olivia stumbles onto this
Yeah, the flat
thing.
brim white cap on.
He did.
He always wore that thing.
He did.
I don't know
And-
why he thought that was a
and
look.
It's so weird that you say that. 'cause-
He al-
and she stumbled on him.
every picture of Pete Rose, he's got the flat brim, white, like bleached cap.
And he was, and look, there were so many things about him that where he was a bad human
Horrible,
being.
yeah.
But the Baseball Hall of Fame is full of
I know,
horrible
but
human beings.
Dude,
Not that horrible.
Dude, I'm just.
Minors?
B-Gun.
A minor?
B-Gun. I will tell you some of the most horrible racists.
Yeah.
Some of the most horrible, and horrible
But John, I'm just
criminals.
all right, forget
Yes.
Striking chords left and right?
I don't want to
Yes.
say forget the criminals for a second, but I'm telling you, as a sports fan,
Right.
You
no, I'd love it.
you have the Negro Leagues.
Oh, I know.
There's a whole Jackie Robinson section.
I've done the Negro League Kansas City one.
That's really cool. I would love to do that.
It was unbelievable because I wasn't educated on it.
Yeah.
And they have a smaller scale one in Atlanta.
Yeah.
On the Negro League stuff in Atlanta. So I was uneducated on it, but I was in Kansas City for a wedding and I saw it and got to see that.
By the way, Cooperstown's actually a nice town. Like bars and restaurants and stuff.
Buster Olney and Tim Kirkchin have tried to talk me into doing this. But I literally just did.
Aw,
I'm
dude,
so
you gotta
offended.
try
I'm
it.
so offended that is what, because baseball writers have done this. Have done this. Where baseball writers have let in the steroid freaks who cheated the game.
Not all of
have
them.
let in and the pitchers, by the way, the steroid pitchers who cheated the game
Not
have
all
been
of them.
allowed in. Many of them. And it just drives me crazy.
I can't believe you'll
Never been. Never been.
You'll never go.
No, and you know me, stubborn as hell. Stubborn.
Dude, it's an awesome experience. Anyways,
I
you know
guarantee
what else is an awesome experience? Every day around this time, reliving the 3 best minutes from today's show, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
Good Friday morning, Philadelphia. I hate all of you. I'm Andrew Salciunas here on 97.5 The
You hate
Fanatic.
all of us.
Yes,
you mean,
not
the
Philadelphia.
listeners.
Yeah, no. I hate John
The
Kincade and I
listeners,
hate Brendan Gunn.
The listeners you just absolutely adore.
I can't even start the damn show without comments. My God, I feel like I'm at home. Anyways.
Just have a little fun with the shirt. I like the shirt,
Beautiful
by the
shirt,
way.
man.
I like the shirt, by the way.
It's the vibe for today's golf outing. I don't
a
care
swingers
all
golf
that much.
outing?
Yes, I'm going to be doing a lot of swinging at the golf outing today.
It just makes me a little uncomfortable. But I love Jahad Campbell.
Right, the talent. Nobody's saying that the talent is a
Jahad
risk.
Campbell.
Right.
But I know this, and I've said it to you before. If I was a GM, you would probably I would never be able to be Howie Roseman because I wouldn't have the balls that Howie Roseman had. Because he has the balls to make a move like that. I don't. I wouldn't. And to me, in the aftermath, I'm saying to myself, God, I hope this works out. Because they really do need, because of the offensive side and all the money that's spent, they need these first-round picks to pay off, and they need cheap labor on the defensive side of the ball for years to come.
Well, look, they need to replenish this defense right away. I mean, we saw how many players that they've lost.
You
Josh
can't win
Sweat,
without Campbell.
Milton Williams.
Right, you need Campbell to step in right away and play.
Yeah.
You need, and to be an impact player. You don't have the luxury of him. Well, he may take a few years to come around, or he may be injured now, but boy, is he going to be good down the line. I don't feel like they have the ability to do that. And that's what Sleepy Rob does. He doesn't pay attention. And that's what it is. You don't pay attention.
He has a 1, 2, 3 fifth inning, and you're ready to say,
I'm ready. No, I'm not ready to take
60
him.
pitches.
I'm not ready to take him out, but I'm ready to say it's not Wheeler.
Yeah,
what are you going?
What are you going into the 7th inning with Taijuan Walker still in the game? Probably not.
Probably not. You got somebody stretched out. You have somebody stretched out
against the Nationals, who have no offense.
How many times do you let Taijuan Walker throw 60, 70 pitches? You got to be ready. You have to pay attention. But no, he got lulled into, well, it's a good game. Didn't expect.
Yeah, he was pitching good. Of course, he's going to say. Any manager would say that.
He's not Wheeler. He's not even Nola. He's not Luzardo. He's not Sanchez. You have to prepare.
Now, here's the deal: the Eagles and every team does their evaluation, medical, right? Who they are as a person, you name it. What gets somebody on your board? What gets somebody off your board? Some teams clearly had him off the board. The Eagles were ready to trade up to pick 22, as confirmed by Adam Schefter yesterday on Wednesday. They were willing to trade up to 22 to select him. They only had to end up moving up one spot to get Campbell. So the Eagles clearly feel a certain type of way about Jahad Campbell and, of course, his health. But then there was also that report we read earlier in the week from Albert Breer, where it almost seemed like, and maybe he did some talking to people. He didn't quote anybody.
I guarantee you Breer's talking to people.
But I'm sure he talked to somebody, where in his story he said the Eagles were willing to take a risk.
No, I mean, it was clear, and even Adam led us to that the Eagles had the ability to, because of this roster, to absorb that risk. And I'm thinking to myself, I think I hate that.
All right, that is the Kincade Salciunas Key 3 best minutes from today's show. Notice I am packing up as we round out the show because Johnny and I and Brendan Gunn and Papa Salciunas
and Papa
will be hitting the links right after the show.
Looking forward to this.
I have not golfed in quite some time, so we'll see how it goes. My last time swinging a golf club was when we did the Citizens Bank Park thing.
Predict the finish of the foursome.
My dad will be last.
Your dad will be last?
Yeah, I usually beat him out. But I'll be third.
I'm going B-Gun, me, you, Dad then. Well, because I didn't know about Dad. I didn't know which way to go on that.
I just usually always beat him. And I always tell him about it.
Join our generous partner, the Davis CPA Group. Love you, Ron Davis. Make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR. Because cancer research saved my life.
Has Ron felt better about the Wheeler thing?
Oh, I think he feels better.
All right, good.
I think Ron feels better.
That was a rough 2 weeks ago.
I think Ron's enjoying going and seeing his grandsons play ball and everything like that. Tax season's over.
Yeah, that's a big part.
He's got the boat ready to go.
It must be nice.
He's all right.
All right, everybody have a great weekend. Mike Missanelli Show comes your way next, as well as your next chance to win $1,000. We'll be back at it on